Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2018 Honda Odyssey. With available Honda Vac, it always bats cleanup.
Welcome to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and beautiful Target Field. This is the first time Blue Jays have been here this season. The only time they will be here, of course. It's a 3-game series. Check that. It's a 4-game series. Got ahead of myself a bit. And the Twins take the field. Jose Barrios, the young right-hander, has really gotten off to a great start pitching at home here this season. He's riding a hot streak. He's 7-0 in his last 7 starts here in this ballpark. John Gibbons' team going to try to do something about that tonight. Let's take a look at the lineup for Gibby. 68 and 78, 10 games under 500, and Richard Urania, top of the order, has put together a 6-game hit streak. Urania started out 2 for 13, but then has got 10 for 25 since. Been a pleasant surprise early in September, and then down in the order. Jose Bautista has always hit well against the Twins. 24 career home runs in just 58 games, including 14 home runs right in this ballpark. So let's see if this ballpark can't bring out the best in Jose Bautista again tonight.
He has a way of making this ballpark look very small when he's hitting here. They get Jose Barrios tonight, his 23rd start of the season. He's been a little inconsistent lately, alternating between good and bad outings. Last time out, he was very good versus Kansas City. 2 runs over 7 innings, though he did pick up a no decision against the Royals. Blue Jays get their first look at Jose Barrios. This is his first career start against them. He's pitching in a pennant race for the first time in his career. It doesn't seem to affect him. A 287 earned run average over his last 5 starts. And the Twins are going to need him this month as they go for a wild card. He has never won a game in the month of September. He's 0-6 in the month of September.
The Minnesota Twins have the 2nd youngest position player team in the American League. They've got athletes all over the field, and they've got a left fielder they can put just about anywhere they want to.
Ray Adrianza. Max Kepler hits 129 against left-handed pitching, so against the lefty, Adrianza gets a chance to play. He has had some starts at first, second, third, short, and left field. Tonight he gets left field as Rosario, the normal left fielder, shifts over to right field for Kepler.
He's a terrific athlete, and he is primarily an infielder. It's made a nice transition to the outfield. So Barrios is set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game, and it's in there for a strike, and we are underway. 31 degrees. It's a summer-like evening here in Minneapolis. A beautiful night for baseball for sure. Urania 316 for the season. Foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Catcher tonight is Jason Castro, a veteran catcher in his first season with the Minnesota Twins.
Does a good job behind the plate against a young starter tonight in Barrios. He wants to establish early, get into the strike zone.
Barrios has a terrific breaking ball, and that's how it gets Urania for the first out of the ball game. That'll bring Josh Donaldson to the plate, and he has had a great run against the Minnesota Twins when you look at his career numbers.
He has put up some outstanding numbers in 36 games, 368 batting average, 14 home runs, 38 driven in those 36 ball games. And right here, he just does it. 15 games here at Target Field. He's had 13 RBIs and 5 home runs in this ballpark.
The OPS at 1.239 is the best since 1913 against the Minnesota Twins. He and Jose Bautista have absolutely killed the Twins, no matter where they play them. Inside. 2 balls and no strikes to Donaldson.
Barrios in the first inning has had his problems this year. It says the first inning is his worst inning. ERA over 6 in the first inning. He's given up 15 runs in 22 innings. So Blue Jays have to make him get into that strike zone.
The breaking ball looked like it may have broken around the plate, but it's called a strike. Chris Conroy is the home plate umpire tonight.
He's given up 5 home runs this season in the first inning. So you don't want to let him get too comfortable, because once he does start to get comfortable, he can be tough.
97, but upstairs. First time we've gotten a chance to see Barrios in person. Same for the Blue Jays.
We've heard a lot of good things about him. Fastball, a lot of fastball strikes, some good breaking balls.
Well, Donaldson takes ball 4 upstairs, a 1-out walk, and that'll bring Justin Smoke to the plate. Donaldson did a good job of Taking a look at a few of those pitches.
They didn't miss by much. A couple of those high fastballs, and JD was able to lay off of them. Berríos, not really a strikeout type of pitcher. He's around the plate, doesn't walk too many.
Last time out in his last start, he had 1 strikeout, faced 28 batters, only struck out 1. He's already struck out 1 tonight. Roca lines it to the shortstop, who is playing up the middle. That is Polanco, who was shaded just behind second and takes that line drive for the second out of the inning.
Keep swinging it, trying to get this ball over the shift. The line drive looked like it was heading into the outfield. Ball taken out of the air by Polanco. No chance to turn 2. Keep swinging it, Smokey. They will fall.
2 down now for Jose Bautista. And we have mentioned Bautista's great run against the Twins for his career. Jose has hit 14 home runs in this ballpark in just 86 at-bats, total of 21 games played here. That's the most home runs by a visiting player. He's tied with Carlos Santana of the Indians and Sal Perez of the Royals.
But they have way more at bats because they play in the same division. Bautista doesn't.
Santana has 265 at bats. That's how he has hit his 14 homers. And Sal Perez 209. Bautista just 86.
He can make this ballpark look small, like we said. Right field, center field, left field, it doesn't matter.
0-2. Upstairs, he got a piece of it.
Just like Josh Donaldson, who walked, Jose Bautista's got some ridiculous numbers in 21 games, a .349 average to go along with those 14 home runs and 23 RBIs. Again, in just 21 games in this ballpark.
Another breaking ball and a strikeout. So Berríos has a good first inning. A couple of strikeouts. He leaves a base runner aboard. When we come back, Brett Anderson will take them out. As the manager of the Minnesota Twins has done a heck of a job with this young ball club, and they are in that second wild card position as we speak. They've got a 2-game cushion for that second place. Let's take a look at their lineup tonight. Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, and Joe Mauer has been terrific over his last 21 games. He's been killing them to the tune of 405. He's got 10 doubles in that period. And how about Byron Buxton? Look what he did in that series in Toronto. He went 7 for 13. He had a 3-homer game, drove in 7. And for good measure, he made one of the best defensive catches we have seen this season.
He showed some serious baseball skills in that series back at Rogers Center. The guy that has to shut him down tonight, it's Brett Anderson. There are his numbers in 9 starts with the Blue Jays and the Cubs. It's been better than anyone really expected since he joined the Jays at the end of August. Hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of his 3 starts.
Ryan Dozier hits it to center, but Kevin Pillar is there and he runs it down. This is a spacious ballpark and one that Pillar can really range far and wide. Carrera, Pillar, and Bautista in the outfield. Urania and Goins up the middle, and Rafi Lopez was a late addition to this lineup this evening.
Yeah, Russell Martin was in the original lineup. Then he was scratched about an hour or so before the ball game. We are expecting it's the same problems that he had with that oblique. John Gibbons saying late, it'd be around batting practice, that Rafi Lopez is going to catch because of the game yesterday and the travel. He made a mistake and put Martin in there and then took him out.
First time Rafi Lopez has caught Brett Anderson. Montero caught him in the first 2 starts, mainly caught him in the 3rd start, and tonight it's over to Rafi Lopez. This is Joe Mauer, and we mentioned his hot streak over his last 21 games, hitting .405. That's got his average to .306.
Well, he's being Joe Mauer again, taking that ball right back through the middle. You can see no one shifts on him because of his ability to hit the ball all over the place. He too had a great series against the Blue Jays back at Rogers Center. 8 for 15.
When that series began at Rogers Center, Joe Mauer was hitting .287. Now he's up to .306. That's what you want from your stars, a strong finish. That's a base hit. What's new? Carrera hustling into foul territory, and he'll keep Mauer to a single. Good job by Carrera getting over there quickly and holding Mauer to a 1-out single.
That average that you talked about, .306 batting average, 6th best in the American League with these type of hits. He's always been able to hit the ball from foul line to foul line. Takes that inside pitch, lets it get deep enough, and still is able to square it up and keep it fair down the left field line. He has had multiple hits in 14 games, 14 times in 32 games since the beginning of August.
He's had 12 3+ hits. In the last 2 seasons, Mauer combined to put together just 13 such games. Over 15 and 16, he only had 13 3-hit games. This is Jorge Polanco, a switch hitter. The shortstop has really put together a good season. 11 home runs, 64 RBIs.
They have a lot of players who are having great years. Guys that you weren't really expecting to have these type of seasons. Polanco, Escobar comes to mind with his 18 home runs. Rosario's had a big year. He's really come out of nowhere. They're missing, excuse me, Buck, their big home run hitter, Miguel Sano. Doesn't look like he's going to be playing in this series, but he normally bats cleanup.
Another fly ball into center. Plenty of room for Pillar. Mauer is halfway off of first. He'll go back as Polanco's retired on the fly ball to center. Well, that's what you want in this ballpark. Keep the hitters to the big part of the diamond and turn things over to Kevin Pillar. You'll be in pretty good shape. Eduardo Escobar, he too is a switch hitter, and he's had a great season.
How about that? 18 home runs and 62 RBIs for Escobar. He's getting a lot more playing time with Sano on the disabled list.
This is a tough lineup because they have so many switch hitters. There are 4 switch hitters in the starting 9. This is another fly ball to right. No problem for Bautista. Brett Anderson, a good inning under his belt to start this game. We played an inning in Minnesota, no score.
Log into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ4427 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching tonight's broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Don't forget, the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As Kendrys Morales would lead things off for the Blue Jays. Kendrys was actually part of this Minnesota Twins team in 2014. He was traded from Minnesota to Seattle, July 24th, 2014. Kendrys has been swinging the bat well of late. He's got a 6-game hit streak. And that's the direction he's been picking up most of those hits. This time it's a ground ball to the shortstop, one away.
Well, Barrios is tough because he's got a great fastball. But he had to learn how to command that fastball. Last year he came up and it was just a nightmare season for him. Maybe a little bit premature coming up to the big leagues.
He didn't make his first start this season until the 7th of May. As they were trying to send a message, hey, you command your fastball, you can pitch up here forever. And he has done that, just like that first pitch to Pilar.
Well, he was averaging about 5 walks per 9 innings last year. This year he has cut that down. Fastball command is so important. There are the numbers. He'll use the fastball 61% of the time. Curveball, it's more like a curve and a slider. He's got 2 different types of breaking balls and a changeup.
Pilar stays on that breaking ball, just serves it into right field. That ball was up a bit, and that's why Pilar was able to put it in play. First hit of the game for the Blue Jays.
Well, Barrios against righties starts on the third base side of that pitching rubber and creates a lot of movement with that breaking ball, trying to get it to the outside part of the plate. But because it was up, Pilar didn't have to reach for it. Just take a nice little healthy swing and shoot it the other way for his first hit.
Maria's checking out whether that ball's got a flat side to it.
You know, that's funny you say that, because I was talking to Jay Happ, and Jay says he throws the ball out a lot because of that. There's a lot of balls that come back that are hit that they're actually dented. So he likes to throw them out and get a new one.
Ezequiel Carrera goes after the first pitch and rips it into center field. Back-to-back singles with one out here in the second.
I think Jerry Meals, the second base umpire tonight, might feel like he has a bullseye on him. First inning, that line drive by Smoke went right over Jerry's head. That time that line drive by Carrera went right over Jerry's head again. He had to duck out of the way. Solid single into center field.
You know, that is a strange feeling. Well, you and I have been on the field and had those line drives come at us, but we all have a glove. Umpire's standing there without a glove. He didn't know which way to move.
Yeah, it looked like Jerry wasn't sure if he should duck or go to the right. He did the right thing. Just get out of the way.
There is Ryan Goins. Goins likes hitting against the Twins. He's had a nice run against Minnesota. Coming into this game, he's a .327 career hitter in 19 games. 18 for 55. He's got his average to .225 for the season.
53 driven in by just trying not to do too much. Take what the pitcher gives you. He's not afraid to shoot that ball right over the shortstop's head to pick up the run.
There are the numbers you were talking about. Batting with runners in scoring position, .330 average with 47 ribbies at this season. The Twins have a 2-game cushion in that second wild card spot. They have a 2-game lead over the Angels, 3.5 games over the Mariners. Breaking ball in the dirt. The Twins have a very favorable schedule winding up the season. They have the 3rd weakest schedule in the American League behind Oakland and the Tigers. Paul Molitor knows that you don't take that for granted, but you got to play every single game. But certainly things are in their favor. They have 11 games left on their schedule with the Blue Jays and the Tigers.
7 with the Tigers, and the Tigers gave up 17 runs today.
High fly ball into center field. No problem for Byron Buxton, the center fielder. He is there, and Goins is retired. 2 away. Yeah, the Tigers are going through a real tough time right now, and the pitching has really taken a beating lately. The White Sox beat them 17-7 earlier today. The Baltimore Orioles, they're not having any fun right now. Yankees scored 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning off Wade Miley. He got just 1 out tonight. Again, Barrios, he's looking at that baseball, and you might be right. You know, those baseballs are so hard right now, and the bats are equally hard. So you'll see lopsided baseballs from time to time, and we see a lot of pitchers throw baseballs out after just one batter.
And we were saying, well, who wouldn't want to pitch with a scuffed ball? Well, it's not about being scuffed. There's something that just doesn't feel right to them. So the pitchers, instead of trying to throw it and locate it, they just toss it out.
Says Rafi Lopez, who was not in the original lineup tonight. John Gibbons said he made a mistake and put Russell Martin in there, and Russell was just off the disabled list, played yesterday for the first time in over a month.
Yeah, and thought it better. You know, with the game yesterday, last night, ball club got into here about 2 o'clock Central Time, which is 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And then a quick turnaround in the game here. Gibby said, you know what, I thought better of it and decided to give Russell the night off. Said he should be in there tomorrow.
So Rafi Lopez gets the nod behind the plate. 2 balls and no strikes, the number 9 hitter. Off the plate. This has been the problem you have talked about that has reared its ugly head from time to time for Barrios, the fastball command.
In walks last year, that was the problem. He just couldn't command that fastball and get that breaking ball over. This year, it's a little bit better. Largest decrease in base on ball percentage from 2016. Barrios is number 1. It's better. And when he is good, he's pounding that strike zone.
Well, he walks the number 9 hitter on 4 pitches, and he's going to get a visit from the third baseman, Eduardo Escobar. You got to be aggressive, especially bottom part of that order. He walked Donaldson to begin the ball game with 1 out in the first, and now he has walked Rafi Lopez here with 2 outs, and he has loaded the bases. And I can bet you Richard Urania is going to be all fired up for that first pitch fastball.
He went last time to lead off the ball game. He struck out on 3 pitches, 2 fastballs and then a breaking ball, and he's like, I'm not getting the 2 strikes after seeing that breaking ball. Be ready for that first one.
Throws him a breaking ball. That's a pretty good pitch. No swing according to the third base umpire on the appeal, but that pitch caught the strike zone.
Richard Urania will take it. That breaking ball swept across the plate and on the inside corner. So now you can guess fastball here. See how many runs you can knock in.
He was on it, but late as that fastball was away.
He's got that free and easy delivery towards home plate and a loose arm. You know, it looks like you're going to be able to track that baseball, but with that loose arm, it's almost like a buggy whip. He whips it towards home plate and it gets on you quick. His fastball's got a lot of life to it.
1-1 pitch. Fouled off again. 95. It's good stuff. There's no question about the quality of his pitches.
His 11 starts pre-All-Star game, he was 8-2 with an ERA of 3.5. 11 post-All-Star break starts. He's got a losing record of 4-5.
But he has pitched very well in this home ballpark. He is 7-0 in his last 7 starts here at Target Field. But the Blue Jays have him on the ropes now. Upstairs. He's pitching to Jason Castro, who's in his first season with the Twins. Jason spent 6 years in Houston, and Paul Molitor was really praising Castro for his leadership behind the plate. So he's a great game caller, and he really puts together a good game plan for this pitching staff. Castro's really not outgoing, but he's a quiet leader. He caught at Stanford, just like his former manager, A.J. Hinch, down in Houston.
Houston let him go, signed over here. How about the adjustments Urania's making on that breaking ball? He's fouled off a couple of tough ones in this at-bat. Again, he missed the first one for strike 3, his first at-bat.
Comes right back with that breaking ball and strikes out Urania for a second time. Big strikeout for 23-year-old Jose Barrios. Blue Jays leave the bases loaded.
Field. Russell Martin, as you heard earlier, is getting the night off. Manager John Gibbons telling us that expect him to be back in that starting lineup for the rest of the series. As for Rafael Lopez, according to pitching coach Pete Walker, anytime you're working with a new pitcher, it's going to be a challenge for Anderson and Lopez. Walker said expect it to be a little bit of trial and error tonight. The two will try and get a feel for one another, trying to get comfortable as the game goes on. Walker said he definitely encourages his pitchers to shake, to make sure a new catcher understands what he'd like to do in certain situations. Buck mentioned Lopez as Anderson's third catcher as a member of the Blue Jays, but based on his outings, Buck, he doesn't seem to be having any trouble adjusting to a new guy behind the plate.
Now, Brett Anderson's a veteran, and I'm sure they had a nice conversation about his strengths, his weaknesses. I know the one thing that Ralphie will want to do is give the signs quickly. No matter what the pitch is, give it to him quickly. Brett likes to work very quickly.
Let's expand a little bit about that, encouraging the pitchers to shake. First of all, the base hit by Buxton. You know, when pitchers come to a new team, they feel like catchers run the game, and the catchers understand the hitters that they're facing. Well, they don't know Brett Anderson. They don't know what's working for him that day. And if you encourage your pitcher, if you don't like what the catcher's putting down, to go ahead and shake to something that feels, call your own game, basically, is what they're saying. And I think that's important, especially for a guy like Anderson, who's been around for a while.
Yeah, he knows what works for him, and he knows what he has on a given night. So now you got to keep your eye on Buxton. He's only been caught once this season trying to steal bases. He has 20 straight stolen bases. Last time he was caught was way back in May 23rd. Wellington Castillo, the strong-arm Oriole catcher, threw him out. It's the last time he's been caught.
He's got a lot of natural talent, and what Anderson's going to have to do is he's going to have to vary those times towards home plate. That time he quick pitched him. Now he might hold the ball just a little bit longer and see if Buxton will get a little antsy over there at first base.
Brett has 9 career pickoffs. He has picked off 1 base runner this season with the Blue Jays. Buxton's trying to draw a throw. Ground ball. Urania Goins back to first in time. Double play. So that leadoff single is erased on a double play. 2 outs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yankees are putting it together at the right time, and they don't care what kind of slump Judge was in as long as he gets out of it before the postseason starts. The Yankees have a strong hold on the first wild card berth, and they still have a shot at winning the division. Start of play tonight. The Yankees are 3 behind the Boston Red Sox. Boston beat Oakland earlier today 6-2.
Drew Pomeranz with the win there. The Yankees, they can hit.
This is Kenny Vargas, who drills it in the alley up right center, goes all the way to the wall. Vargas A switch hitter wrapped that pitch right up over the second baseman all the way to the wall in right center. For Vargas, that's his 12th double of the season.
We were watching him in batting practice today make this ballpark look very small, hitting the ball in the upper deck, way in the center field, into the bleachers in center field. This time he's going to hit the first pitch he sees from Anderson and muscles the ball. Watch it hit the grass and then go all the way to the wall. That is one strong individual right there who can hit basically a line drive all the way to the wall and make a double out of it.
Vargas just turned 27 years old. He's a switch hitter. He's got power from both sides of the plate. Jason Castro, the catcher now.
That is something that the Twins have been doing a lot of, hitting a lot of home runs, really out slugging the team lately. This is a very underrated offensive team.
They have really come on since the 1st of August. There's a strike to Castro. It's 1-1. Since the 1st of August, the Twins have scored 255 runs. That's the most in the majors. They've also hit 73 home runs during that time. And Paul Molitor's team has gone 26-16 since the 1st of August. That's a fair ball. Smoke's going to wait and step on the bag, and that'll do it. So the 2-out double did no damage. We played 2 innings here in Minneapolis, and there's no score.
Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As we are headed to the top of the 3rd inning, it'll be Josh Donaldson to start things off for the Blue Jays. He walked and was stranded at first base his first time up. Jose Barrios has 3 strikeouts so far in this game, and he's stranded to the bases loaded. The Blue Jays have left 4 on so far.
Got to get him early before he gets into his comfort zone.
Well, isn't that the truth of most starters? They go out there and it's all just kind of almost like they're exploring the mound in that first inning, and if you can catch them, you can knock them out early. But boy, once they get settled in, it's difficult to get these good ones. Donaldson takes ball 1. As we mentioned, Josh walked his first time up.
You know, this is the Blue Jays' first look at Barrios up close. They've seen a lot of tape and they've read about him and stuff like that. This is their first chance to actually face him. This is our first chance to see him also, and he's got a long arm swing. Buck, you would think that with that long arm swing that you'd be able to pick up something in his delivery, what he's going to give away. He drops the ball back behind his back. He really shows the hitter that grip of that baseball. A lot of good hitters can pick up what type of pitch it is.
Watch how that arm travels behind his back. And there's a lot of time where you can see the delivery, and oftentimes you're right, that will give the hitters a long time to pick up the pitches.
Watch when he drops it behind his back. You get a quick glimpse of how he's holding the baseball. That might tell you if there's a slider coming or a fastball. You've got a fastball and two types of breaking ball, but it's going down and away to the right-handers. Hey, anything that can help you to sneak out something, to learn something when you're facing a guy for the first time.
The breaking ball hit high in the air, but that's going to be out of play. Barrios is 23 years old. He's from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, outside of San Juan. He pitched for Puerto Rico in the 2017 World Baseball Classic. He had a win in that classic. In his outing, he had 2 walks and 10 strikeouts. He's got big-time stuff. He's one of 2 draft picks in the first round in 2012 by Minnesota. And they did all right in those 2 picks in that first round.
You know what we talk all the time about? You build a team down the middle of the baseball diamond. Pitching, catching, shortstop, second base, center field. Well, they got some studs. One of those picks was Byron Buxton.
Buxton was the 2nd pick. Barrios was the 32nd pick. He was a compensation pick in 2012. And Donaldson chases that high fastball. Barrios gets the strikeout, but he wasn't thrilled about the location.
See big on all in-stock flooring from September 13th to 20th at the Fall Flooring event, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations.
The land of 10,000 lakes and the entire city of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and both those twin cities surrounded by a lot of water. It's a beautiful evening here in Minneapolis. Barrios jumps ahead of Justin Smoke with a fastball. Smoke lined a shot headed towards center, but it was right to the shortstop who was playing him in the shift. He lined out in the first inning.
Talked about Barrios, and he's been a little inconsistent of late, alternating between good starts and bad starts. So far today, he's getting the job done, but he doesn't look as sharp as we have seen him in the past. His breaking ball command hasn't been that great. His fastball command hasn't been really that good.
Now, even on the strikeout of Donaldson, he didn't get close to where he wanted it. He wasn't really pleased with that location.
Just watching his reaction after the strikeout, he said, okay, I'll take the strikeout, but I'm not happy with that fastball up and in.
Ground ball, couple of hops to the first baseman, and he'll take it himself. Vargas steps on the bag, and Smoke's retired. 2 quick outs here in the 3rd.
I think you get that with young pitchers. You mentioned he's only 23 years old. Really hasn't had a full year in the big leagues. So you're going to get those inconsistencies from start to start. As soon as he understands what makes him click, he'll be fine. What a talent.
Yeah, he should be that kind of talent. You take him in that first round. He was compensation for the loss of Michael Kadire, a longtime Minnesota Twin who left as a free agent. So in that 32nd pick, they took Barrios. Bautista tried to check his swing and did, according to the first base umpire. It's Ryan Blakely down there at first tonight. High fly ball deep to right. Carry ball. Get up, and not going to go. That ball came straight down, and it was right in front of the wall. Bautista making a bid for his 15th career home run in this ballpark. It falls about 3 feet short. Minnesota Twins have had a great second half to their season. Paul Molitor's ball club has really turned it on, especially on the offense, Pat, since the All-Star break.
321 runs since the All-Star break leads the American League in that category. And you know what they're doing? They're hitting a lot of home runs. It's a team that's taking on the characteristics of Molitor, where they can handle pitches away, good batting average, they have a good approach at the plate, but they're hitting a lot of more home runs than we're used to seeing from the Twins.
Young ball players, they are the second youngest position players in the American League, second only to the Chicago White Sox. You got 5 regulars that are 25 years and younger. This is A-Ray Adrianza, who was with the San Francisco Giants last year and then got put on waivers. He went from San Francisco to Milwaukee and then from Milwaukee to Minnesota. That last transaction February 6th this spring, and Brett Anderson makes quick work of Adrianza. First strikeout ball game for Anderson, one away here in the bottom of the 3rd.
You know, I think everybody who knows anything about baseball knows what's going on as you see Adrianza swing through that one, what's going on in Cleveland. And the great baseball that the Indians have been playing. Indians have hit 64 home runs since August 8th. Minnesota Twins have out-homered them. And that just shows you how the Twins have been winning ball games. They've been out slugging everybody.
Since the 1st of August, the Twins record is 26-16. Only the Indians and the Red Sox have a better win-loss record than the Twins. Brian Dozier, the second baseman, he pops this one up over near the Twins dugout. Lopez is over, but it's beyond his reach as it falls into the Twins dugout.
You know, the wind is pushing that ball back. We just saw that from Jose Bautista. That ball looked like it was heading to the stands in right field. There's a wind tunnel. It looks like it's coming in from right field. You can take a look at the flags that are at half staff here. That ball is, the wind is blowing in right through there, and that ball looked like it was going to stay fair. It was blowing into the stands. So when you see that, it's time to get the line drive stroke out.
Another strikeout, 2 strikeouts in the inning. Let's check in once again with Jamie Campbell. Josh Tomlin started that game. Joe Smith is now into the ball game in relief, and Kansas City has the lead. Top of the 6th in Cleveland.
That's headline news right there.
They haven't
4
trailed.
innings, something like that.
4 innings during the 21-game win streak. They've trailed, and they are trailing tonight. Here is Joe Mauer. He got a single his first time up, just inside the bag at 3rd, and Ezekiel Carrera and Kevin Plor, boy, they are really shading Mauer around to the opposite field. Even Bautista has swung around toward left. And there's the outfield alignment against Mauer. Hits this one on the ground. Goins at second base, waits and fires the first. 3 up, 3 down. Good inning for Brett Anderson. Just 9 pitches for the lefty, including a couple of strikeouts.
collaboration with Baseball Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar, will host the 5th annual Tournament 12, currently taking place at Rogers Center. It runs until September 17th. Tournament 12 features the best amateur baseball players from across Canada. Come and see the future of Canadian baseball. Visit bluejays.com/T12. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And that's always a great tournament. We saw some of those young players make their way towards Rogers Center before we left. And we want to wish Robbie Alomar and everybody involved with T12 the best for a great tournament. And good luck to all those young players as well. Here's Kendrys Morales. Morales grounded out to the shortstop. He was shifted up the middle. And Kendrys grounded out. This ball may have hit him in the back foot. Nope, didn't look like it. That big breaking ball tracked him inside.
What Kendrys has done a good job of lately over the last, a week, 10 days. Been hitting the ball the other way with a little bit more authority. Because you know what? I'm going to get that batting average up. If you're going to play one fielder on the left side of the infield, I'm going to go over there and get my share of base hits.
Morales signed a free agent contract with Minnesota in June of 2014. He and Stephen Drew were free agent that year, and they couldn't get a contract. That ball is drilled to the alley in left field, but there's the left fielder, Adrianza, who makes the catch and retires him. But Morales couldn't get a contract until June 7th. He signed a contract here with Minnesota, and then later on he was dealt to the Seattle Mariners on July 24th in exchange for Stephen Pryor, who came to the Twins.
He was a free agent, right?
He and Stephen Drew.
Yeah,
they couldn't re-sign with their team.
That's right.
So he had to wait it out, and he couldn't get any offers, had to sit out until June, and he and Stephen Drew both really were victimized by that rule, which has since been changed.
Yeah, I never understood that, where the guys can put up the numbers that Morales can put up. And it was almost like they were trying to force him back to his team. He really wasn't really free at all until he waited out a couple of months.
Yeah, he and Stephen Drew fell under that same rule. Drew ended up signing with the Red Sox, but he couldn't join the team until that first week of June. There's another breaking ball.
Didn't that happen to Tim Raines way back when he was a free agent and he had to go back to the Montreal Expos after a certain date?
Seems like something like that happened. Like he couldn't sign until after a particular date.
Yeah, and when he came back, he had 4 hits and a couple of home runs, something like that.
Millar gets a piece of that breaking ball that was outside that time.
Well, I'm glad they got rid of that rule.
Yeah, it was onerous to the players, that's for sure. It didn't allow them any freedom at all. McHenry's got a nice contract coming here with the Blue Jays. Signed a 3-year deal. 0-2 to Kevin Pillar. They wanted it upstairs, and he hit spot high pop up into center. There's Buxton, and he catches the ball 2 away.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Downtown Minneapolis, it has a beautiful baseball park here at Target Field. They're also the proud owners of a new football stadium, a pretty good looking stadium just a few blocks from downtown as well.
Super Bowl's going to be here, isn't it?
I believe so. It's a beautiful big stadium.
Right? Super Bowl in January? February 4th. Thank you. Should be nice and toasty here in February 4th for the Super Bowl.
And a pop-up that's going to blow out of play. Well, one thing that's kind of interesting about Minneapolis, it's much like Toronto. You can walk indoors and go blocks and blocks and blocks and stay indoors out of the weather. And we did that today walking over to Target Field. So it's much like Toronto in that regard. Is you can stay underground in Toronto and walk all over downtown and never go outside.
Here it's called the Skywalks, and you just walk from building to building.
There's a strike to Carrera. It's 1-2. Blue Jays had Barrios on the ropes in the second inning. And the bases loaded, and he was able to strike out Richard Urena to leave the bases loaded. Now the breaking ball missed. Pat, you talked about it a bit earlier about Berríos and pitching from the third base side of the rubber. It's an adjustment he has made, and he started it in the offseason. Bert Blyleven, great pitcher for the Twins and so many great major league ball clubs, does the TV here for Minneapolis and for the Twins, and he suggested the moving to the third base side of that rubber.
He was at the first base side of the rubber and moved over to the third, creating a very tough angle. But he's got that loose arm, and he's able to still get that ball across his body to the outside part of the plate against righties. Inside part of the plate to lefties, the glove side.
Just creates a very positive angle as he's coming toward the hitter, and he has such a big break on his breaking ball. You can see it's almost like a golfer setting up for his tee shot. He's got a big hook on it, so he wants to give himself as much room as he can to hit it in that strike zone. Carrera is terrific at stealing. He is 9 for 10 in stolen base attempts this season. No score in the ball game. We're in the top of the fourth.
Blue Jays will have all their numbers that they need. How long does it take Berríos to deliver the ball to the plate? How long does it take Castro to get the ball from his glove down to second base? And if those numbers match up with the speed of Carrera at first base, they might send him. The Twins think he's going.
Yeah, Castro has thrown out 25% of the base stealers. The major league average is 27%. So he's just under the major league average, but any catcher will tell you they have to have some help from the pitchers.
If they can deliver the ball quickly to home, he's got enough fastball to get it up there quickly. Carrera's got a big lead.
Bowen slices it down the left side. Well, back out of play. Ryan flied out to center field, his only time up. Top of the fourth inning. Blue Jays have 2 hits. The Twins have 3 hits. No one has crossed home plate yet. It's first of a 4-game series here in Minnesota. Beautiful Target Field. Goins getting some consistent playing time with Troy Tulowitzki on the disabled list, out for the season. Now with the call-up of Richard Urania. Goins has moved across the bag. He's playing second base almost on a daily basis.
You got to send the runner here. 2 strikes. You might get that breaking ball. If you get thrown out, Goins gets the lead off next inning. I'd rather have him lead off.
Not running. Ball is hit in the air to right. Ball is carrying, but it's going to be short of the warning track as Rosario makes the catch right on the edge of the grass in the right. So Berríos, some early problems seem to have ironed them out.
Polanco getting ready to lead things off for the Twins, and Buck talked about the red-hot Minnesota offense. I spoke to longtime Twins TV play-by-play man Dick Bremer, who told me their success, well, it's been a combination of players, all of them in their early to mid-20s, all of them seemingly figuring things out at about the same time, whether it's Eddie Rosario, Polanco, Byron Buxton. It's this prospect class the Twins have been excited about, they've been talking about for years. Obviously, they went through a frustrating time last season, but Bremer said everybody's got things figured out, and he says if you're a Twins fan, Buck, it's certainly been fun to watch.
Well, anytime you have young players that are athletic and have some speed, it's an exciting brand of baseball, and that's what the Twins have done here. They've done a nice job of building up their farm system. They had several teams make the postseason playoffs in the minor leagues again this year. But all these youngsters that were signed and drafted originally by the Twins have grown up in this organization, which emphasizes winning at all levels, and they continue to do that.
And there's more on the way for the Twins. They've got a young second baseman who was a #1 draft pick a couple of years ago. You might have heard of his last name, Gordon. It's Nick Gordon, D. Gordon's brother, Tom Gordon's other son, who was a first-round draft pick just a couple of seasons ago. He's playing second base. You want to talk about young and fast, there's another one.
Yeah, they are the youngest position player team in the American League, second only to the Chicago White Sox. Brett Anderson is off to a great start tonight. He's allowed just 3 hits so far, making his 4th start of the season for the Blue Jays.
He's been good. Pete Walker was telling me today that he's better than what they thought, what they expected from him, but he's a baseball player. He understands it. He understands what his strengths are. He understands what he can do. Says he got good breaking balls, a couple of good breaking balls that he can use when he needs them. If he reads a bat that the guy can't get around on a certain break ball, he's able to throw it in there at that time.
So fly ball to right. Bautista makes a nice running catch to retire Polanco.
And I think he can adapt also. He can understand if something's not working for him that day, he has the ability to adapt and go to something else and make that work. In that respect, he reminds me a lot of Mark Buehrle. When Buehrle came here and pitched for the Blue Jays, there were games where his fastball command wasn't that good. He had to go to more change-ups or cutters and things like that. He just learned how to pitch.
Yeah, you have to work with what you have on a given night, and I think you're right. Anderson's 29 years old. This is his 9th major league season, so he's got a lot of experience. The one big holdup for Anderson throughout his career has been the injuries he's had to deal with.
Had some injuries this year that put him on the disabled list when he was with Chicago, and we showed those numbers earlier today that they weren't very good. Well, he wasn't healthy. I think the biggest thing that the Blue Jays have done with Anderson since he has come over here, they have basically said, hey, you go out there and be yourself. We're not going to tinker with anything. We're not going to try anything. You've been around long enough. You know yourself better than anybody. Go out there and pitch. Just be yourself.
There's a fastball strike. It's now 3-1. Brett's last 2 starts for the Cubs, May 1st and May 6th, he pitched a total of an inning and 2/3. Gave up 12 runs on 13 hits. He just wasn't healthy. Here he loses Escobar. That's the first walk he has allowed tonight.
First walk
Byron Buxton to the plate.
In a long time that he hasn't.
Yeah, he hasn't walked anybody, and he's just been around the plate. But that time he loses Escobar with 1 out.
That's his first walk as a Blue Jay. It's his 4th start.
Byron Buxton had a single to center field his first time up back in the 2nd, but he was erased on a double play. First pitch changeup. Buxton, a good-looking young player. Of course, we talked about his great series against the Blue Jays at Rogers Center. He went 7 for 13 in that series, including a 3-homer day on the series finale on Sunday.
That last one, home run was a fastball down and in that he turned on. He's got some power to all fields. He's just learning the game at the big league level. He is a super talent, and when you watch him, you can tell that he's got a lot of tools. David Eckstein's brother, Rick Eckstein, is here. And he's been a great hitting coach for all over the place. And he was saying today he had Mike Trout in 2014 when he was a young player, Bryce Harper when he was a rookie, and now he's got Byron Buxton as a young player. He reminds them, all of those, as the same type of player. Not one is better than the other, or they're all the same. He says they just have something about them that puts them different than the other great players. There's something about them that sets them apart from other players.
He gets a piece of that off-speed pitch and stays alive. Obviously, physical talent is one thing, and then they have a knack for figuring out how to get the barrel of the bat to the baseball. And then athletically, they're all blessed with great athletic ability.
And when you watch them, you say, that's a different ball player. There's something about them. You can see why they are drafted so high in the draft. There's something about them that sets them apart from other players. Now, Rick was saying the only thing he needs is experience. He needs to play for a couple of years, and you're going to see a superstar come out.
1-2 pitch upstairs, now 2-2. Good job by Lopez to flag that high pitch down. In the series in Toronto, Buxton had 2 bunt base hits, 1 for an RBI, and then he had the 3-homer game in the series finale. I mean, he's got the skills to do everything on a baseball field you need, and he can really run. This time he strikes out. Good job by Anderson as he comes up with his 3rd strikeout of the game.
I think that is what Pete Walker was talking about when Brett Anderson has a feel for what the batters are trying to do in the swing plane, and he has the ability to get that breaking ball where he needs to underneath the bats. Right there, that hard breaking ball underneath the bat of Buxton. So Pete right on with Anderson on that pitch.
Another breaking ball and a wild swing from Eddie Rosario. Rosario had the walk-off home run in extra innings in last night's game. And the interesting thing is that was his 23rd home run of the season. He came into this season with 23 career home runs for his entire career. So he has found out the magic of hitting home runs.
He doubled it in 1 year. You know what he did in that at bat before he hit that home run is he laid off of 2 really tough pitches. It was extra innings. It was the 10th inning. He laid off some tough pitches where in the past he might have swung at, and they were just off the plate. He got to a 2-0 count. Then he took a healthy rip at that 2-0 fastball and won the ball game for him.
Good job by Rafi Lopez. But you know, we talked to Luke Maile after he caught Brett Anderson the last time, and Luke was talking about the unusual spin on his breaking ball and how it can create problems for a catcher when he throws it in the dirt.
He says he's got a lot of spin on his breaking ball, and a lot of that spin when it hits the dirt, it could really cause that ball to do funny things.
Has that high rotation on the breaking ball, and then you got to deal with the footholds, all of the divots around home plate. You catch one of those divots and it hits with that high spin, no telling where it's going to go. So you really got to do a good job of closing down the angle on the balls once they hit in the dirt. 1-2. Little chopper. Anderson has to hustle off the mound. He'll give way to Lopez. Not in time. Rafi Lopez with a terrific effort, and he had the best shot because his momentum is going toward first base. It was going to be a nearly impossible play for Anderson to make. I think Lopez made the right choice.
Yeah, he was the only one who was going to be able to get the runner out at first base. You talk about the Twins being young and athletic and they can run. Well, here's one of those reasons why. 2 strikes, he's able to tap the ball out in front of home plate, and because he can run, he's going to beat this out. Lopez shovels the ball over to Smoke. Curveball just gets a piece of it, and when you've got speed, that carries over and covers up some deficiencies, and it gets you an infield hit.
Kenny Vargas doubled his first time up, takes the first pitch curveball. Vargas hit a double up the gap in right center. It was a 2-out double. He was stranded at second, but he is a powerful, dangerous hitter. Trying to go inside, but caught the outside corner quickly. 0-2 for Anderson.
Slow stuff. That's what he's feeding him.
Yeah, he's got a big wind-up swing from both sides of the plate, and that breaking ball from Anderson might be the pitch to get him out.
His right foot walks into the pitch. He's standing there getting ready to hit, and his first movement, normally it's back. His first movement is his right foot takes a step towards the catcher. So you got to feed him a lot of slow stuff to mess up his timing. See that right foot?
As that breaking ball gets away from Lopez, he's not sure where it is, but Anderson will get it. The runners move up. There's that breaking ball we were talking about with that high spin rate.
And when it spins and hits the dirt like that, Luke was saying that it can go the opposite direction. It spins and it breaks. It looks like it got off of his right hand. Rafi can't find it, so the runners move up on the wild pitch.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners at second and third. He got him. Another breaking ball. This time he strikes out Vargas. Twins leave a pair. We'll go to the 5th. Still no score. Now time for a Blue Jay Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. Fair gets you extras, like extra space to stretch out on your flight. Find out more about the benefits of premium economy at westjet.com/plusfare. Beautiful night for baseball. It's Thursday night, the first game of a 4-game series here against the Twins. The Blue Jays will go back home, have an off day on Monday, and then they'll have the final homestand of the season. Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees in for that final homestand.
Blue Jays are going to have a say in who gets into the playoffs, I think, in the American League. They've got Minnesota, these big 4 games like you just mentioned. Kansas City still fighting and hanging on there in the wild card. And, of course, the Yankees, you get 2 series against the Yankees and 1 more big series against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park the last week of the season.
Certainly playing all those postseason contenders. Catcher Rafi Lopez leads things on. Lopez walked his first time up.
Rafi's still looking for his first strike thrown from Barrios. That's 6 in a row to him. Out of the strike zone.
There's a drive deep to right. This ball's got a chance to go. Get up, ball. It's off the wall. Lopez is headed for second. Here's the throw from Rosario. It's over the second baseman's head. And Rafi Lopez hit one halfway up the wall in deep right center. For Lopez, that's his first double. After he hit 3 home runs, that's his first double. A leadoff double here in the 5th.
In batting practice, the ball was flying out of here. 2-0 pitch from Lopez, and he gets it airborne. But since the game has started, any ball to right field has really been pushed back into play. I think Rosario gave up on that ball early. That if he made an attempt to go get it, it was just above the padding in front of that 365 sign. He had a shot to possibly haul it in, but he plays it to a double.
Urena bunts it. Marias will look at third, take the out at first as Urena drops down a perfect sacrifice bunt. That moves Lopez to third with just one out. Perfect bunt by Urena. Pitcher took a look over his shoulder at third, but he didn't have a play at third base.
Do the little things to help your team score runs. He had struck out the 2 times previous times against Berríos, so he lays down the sacrifice to get the runner in. And now with the catcher at third base, the infield plays halfway.
Halfway in with Donaldson at the plate. That allows the middle infielders a little more range as opposed to coming right in on the edge of the grass. The Twins are a very good defensive team. They've committed just 70 errors this season. Only Kansas City and Cleveland have committed fewer errors. It's always been a trademark of the Minnesota organization to play real good defense.
Good fundamental defense too. Don't beat yourself.
Ground ball foul.
Have pitchers that throw a lot of strikes, have a defense that catches everything and make all the plays, and then get enough timely hitting to help you win ball games.
Situations like this, you always think about a wild pitch, but Minnesota has thrown just 42 wild pitches all season long. Only Boston has thrown fewer. And that's a compliment to the catching core as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being able to put your body in front of it.
Big breaking ball, and it's foul tipped. Donaldson says, wait a minute, hit the dirt. And the umpire behind plate saying hold on, and now they're going to ask for the baseball, and he wants to see the baseball again. Berríos wasn't sure what was up, so they've asked to throw the baseball back, and looks at the ball and what the issue was. I think Donaldson just said, hey, I want to change that baseball because I think it hit the dirt.
Castro says he caught it. Watch him at the end. It did hit the ground. He was showing the umpire, hey, I got that one, but that one looked like it hit the ground.
Breaking ball hit in the air. Not that deep. Left fielder Adrianza, the shortstop, and it drops. And there's no throw. Boy, that was a bad piece of communicating between all 3 outfielders. It looked like the left fielder, Adrianza, was going to make a play. It's just his 8th start in left. Buxton, the center fielder, he was there as well. The toughest play was for the shortstop going away from the infield. One of those outfielders has to take charge and catch that ball.
I think it's the center fielder. He's the Gold Glove center fielder. Remember, the infield's in, so this is going to be tough for the shortstop to get back there. Buxton looks like he's got a beat on it. But remember the wind blowing it back in from right field, so he gives up on it and it falls into no man's land. Rafi Lopez, the runner at third base, wasn't really sure. Should I tag? Should I go halfway? He goes halfway. When he sees it safely into the outfield, he's able to score the game's first run.
For Donaldson, it'll be RBI number 55. A base hit for Josh. Here is Smoke now. He takes the first pitch strike. And line drives all over the ballpark, and the first run comes in on a pop-up that should have been caught. But you're right, the breeze is whipping up, and it's been blowing all around different directions most of the night. 0-2. You know, go back to the Lopez double too. I think you're right. I think the right fielder Rosario got fooled. He thought it was going to be a lot higher up on the wall, but it got knocked down, and I think it was catchable in right as well.
He's a good outfielder, but he played it off the bat like a double, and the Blue Jays are able to cash the run in.
Smoke takes a strike. Strike 3 call. That fastball got him looking. Back on number 5 for Berríos.
That is the first one where the Blue Jays weren't swinging. As Smoke was looking for the breaking ball, and he snuck a fastball by him. And Smokey knew it.
So now Jose Bautista, who hit one deep to right in the third inning, but it was caught on the edge of the warning track. Blue Jays have 1-0 lead. Rafi Lopez with a leadoff double, cashed in by Donaldson's pop single to left. Blue Jays playing some small ball with Urania dropping down a perfect sacrifice bunt. You get your number 9 hitter with the leadoff double. You got to move him up.
Yeah.
I don't care who's leading off. Just move him up and give the RBI guys a chance to knock him in.
Managers sometimes, when you have an experienced player, will give that player the option. If you feel well enough to swing away and move that runner, go ahead and swing away. Or if you feel more comfortable just bunting the ball, whatever you do, just get that runner to third base. Urania did the right thing.
Pitch missed off the plate. It's 2 balls and a strike to Bautista. Ground ball to short. Will cross the diamond in time. Bautista's retired, but the Blue Jays take the lead. Rafi Lopez with the leadoff double. Josh Donaldson with a pop-up base hit for the RBI. Brett Anderson and Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
A little preseason hockey for you. Get a sneak peek of the new look Canucks as they face the Kings in preseason action. That's Saturday on Sportsnet 360, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. But
won't be long, and the hockey season will be upon us as this baseball season is winding down very quickly. It certainly doesn't feel like hockey in the air tonight here in Minneapolis. Start of play, it was 31 degrees, and you can see a lot of Blue Jay fans in attendance once again. We often get a lot of fans down from the prairies and Saskatchewan and Alberta. They all come down from Manitoba and enjoy watching the Blue Jays here.
This feels like a July night, doesn't it?
It's just hot and muggy.
It feels great.
Castro bounces it to first. Easy play for Smoke. He steps on the bag, 1 away. Well, Brett Anderson, another impressive outing for Brett Anderson. This is his 4th start since joining the Blue Jays. Yeah, there was a possibility Brett was going to fly ahead of the team. You mentioned the team got in about 2 in the morning last night, but he decided to stay with the ball club, do his work at Rogers Center, and then just come with the team last night. And so any signs that was a bad judgment, he is dealing here.
He likes to run, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he runs once a week. And he only runs on the day before he pitches. He said, I just want to get my body moving around a little bit. He said because of his history of back problems, he doesn't run as much as he used to. But he has been free and easy.
That's old school, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pitchers running?
Yeah, very much so.
I used to run all the time to keep those legs strong.
Arianza, the left fielder, he struck out his first time up. Anderson with 4 strikeouts so far. And there's another walk. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Hoskins has 18 home runs, and he has really been a pleasant surprise, and got 39 RBIs.
Finally hit one to the opposite field. That home run went to right field.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the Philadelphia Phillies coaches, and they rave about the character of this young man. They're kind of excited about their future. They've got Alfaro up there, the young catcher they got in that trade with Texas for the Cole Hamels deal, and Alfaro hit a home run tonight as well. He's got 3 home runs so far. And they've got a kid named Kingery in the minor leagues at second base, who's got speed and power. He's got 29 stolen bases and 26 home runs.
Do you know who has the second most RBIs heading into play today in the month of September?
No.
Nick Williams.
Oh yeah, the
another
Phillies.
young player of the Phillies.
Yeah, they've got some young guys they're kind of excited about, and they got a lot of cash.
That always helps.
1 out, runner at first base. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. The hometown fans trying to rally the Twins.
Ryan Dozier is at the plate. He's got 30 home runs. 24 of them have come off the fastball. So if you got to throw him a fastball, be careful.
Yeah, he's one of those trendy, power-hitting second basemen. We're starting to see a few more of those around baseball. Think of Ryan Sandberg, of course, Jeff Kent early on, and big guys that hit a lot of home runs.
Alfonso Soriano comes to mind.
Curveball missed off the plate outside.
But he is the best over the last 2 years at hitting after the All-Star break. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
He's not a big guy. He's listed at 5'11", 200 pounds, but he's got some pop in that bat. Off the plate, he takes ball 4, a couple of walks, 3 in the ball game now.
Hurry in to take advantage of amazing deals on the Beauty Tone Signature Series from September 13th to 20th at Home Hardware and Building Center locations.
Beautiful target field here in Minnesota. Brent Anderson in a little bit of a jam here as he's got to deal with Joe Mauer, who's already picked up a hit tonight. Lefties are hitting well against Anderson, hitting over 400 coming into this game.
This is a tough one right here. Joe Mauer. Joe's got that average up to 307. He's hitting over 300 again against left-handers this year. He will take what that pitcher gives you. His concentration right now is a line drive right over the shortstop's head.
The outfield really shifted around toward left, and Carrera, the left fielder, is playing Mauer like a right-handed pull hitter. He's really shaded toward the foul line. Mauer shows bunt. Ball and a strike now to Mauer, who's DHing tonight.
See if that pulls hitting Josh Donaldson at third base. That's the only reason why he squared around there. See if he can get Josh Donaldson to bite and come in just a little bit more and then try and slap the ball by him. But Josh is having nothing to do with it. He's staying back in his normal position.
Mauer, over his last 13 games here at home at Target Field, is 15 for 52, hitting nearly 500. Pete Walker on the phone down to get somebody going in the bullpen. Everybody's starting to stir and move around down there. 2-1. Now 3-1. Well, we talked about Anderson not walking anybody coming into this game, and he has walked 3 to this inning. But a double play will get him out of it. Inside strike. Now we're looking for something out over the plate.
If they have it in their playbook, putting a pickoff play at second base is not a bad idea. That runner, Adrianza, is really getting a big lead out there when Anderson is coming set.
He walked it. That'll load the bases. So after Castro grounded out to start the inning, Anderson walked the next 3 batters. That'll bring Pete Walker out of the Blue Jays dugout. So the pitching coach on his way to the mound. All the while, the bullpen starting to go to work for the Blue Jays. It's like Danny Barnes is the first one up for the Jays.
3 starts for Brett Anderson with the Blue Jays, no walks. We mentioned it tonight. He's now in the 5th innings. He's got 4. He has 4 walks tonight.
3 this inning. There is Danny Barnes. He's the first up tonight for the Blue Jays. Jorge Polanco, the switch hitting shortstop. He has flied out twice so far tonight. Anderson needs a ground ball. He's been good at getting those ground balls. The batter wasn't quite set. Anderson was ready to go. Turns that over and misses with the first pitch.
Trying to get an aggressive hitter to swing at that first pitch.
The Twins have won 10 of their last 12 home games. One and one now. Base hit. That's going to score 1 for sure, and here comes the second run in. Dozier comes in to score from second. And the Twins have the lead. Polanco delivers a 2-run single.
You know, we had talked about the Twins and some of the unsung heroes, if you will, on this offense. Guys that you don't think are going to have big years. Polanco's one of them. They got him hitting third. He comes through again with the base hit, and that hit's going to take Brett Anderson out of this ball game. Cruising along for 4 innings, gets the first batter here, 3 walks and a single, and that's it.
Yeah, it really happened fast for Anderson after 1 out, and he's got something going on with his finger. That's the problem. Once again, he has been dealing with that blister inside his ring finger on his pitching hand, and he is upset about it. That's why it's so unusual. He walked 4 in this game after not giving up any walks, and you can see he's been dealing with that issue on his finger. So he's out of the game. Barnes is into the game. We got a pitching change here in Minnesota. Dealing with a blister, and that's what the root of those walks was. And now Danny Barnes will inherit a tough situation here. First and third, and 2 runs in.
Normally, when you see something unexpected like that, an injury is usually the problem, and I think that's what the problem was. But before that, he gave up a couple of runs, so Danny Barnes got to finish this thing off. He's 2-6 with a 373 earned run average. His last outing was 3 days ago, so he's well rested. Pick up a hold in that outing against Baltimore on Monday.
Eduardo Escobar lines it to Goins, back to first, double play. So Barnes comes in, throws 1 pitch, and gets the double play to end the inning. But Minnesota, on the strength of 3 walks and a big base hit by Polanco. Danny Barnes comes in and gets Escobar to hit it right to Goins, who makes a quick double play on him to end the inning. But the Twins take the lead. Coming into this start, but tonight he'd walked 4, and he walked 3 in the 5th inning, and you could see him shaking out his pitching hand. Then he looks at his hand, and he has shown us a blister, but the blister was inside his ring finger on his pitching hand, on the knuckle, the middle knuckle, where that ball would rub up against it. The seam, when he threw his fastball, would rub up against that knuckle and created a callus. But to me, it looked like he was dealing with a different area on the fingertips of his pitching hand.
He tucks that ring finger up underneath the baseball when he grips his fastball, and when he lets it go, it rubs right across that inside of that finger. And he was showing us, he said he's never had this problem before, ever. And now you see him looking at it again on that ring finger once again. So 4 walks, uncharacteristic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't care.
He had to walk 3 in the 5th inning before he was out of it. So it goes 4 in the 3rd.
I don't care what anybody says. There is something different about the baseball this year, where so many pitchers have been complaining about blisters.
Yeah.
Who've never had that before.
Yeah, I think that's been universal. I think everybody's now in agreement that that is the root of the problem. So Morales draws a leadoff walk. The Twins have a 2-1 lead. Jose Barrios, he has walked 3 tonight, but he has struck out 5. Check that. That was the 4th walk for Barrios. Kevin Pillar, he has a base hit so far. Checks his swing on that first pitch breaking ball. In Cleveland, the Royals still have a lead over the Indians. It's 2-1, and they are in the bottom of the 8th. High fly ball to left. Adrianza is right there at the wall. He's going to make the catch. He had room. The ball is not carrying at all like it did during batting practice today. The wind is knocking everything down. So Brett Anderson made his 4th start for the Blue Jays. He goes 4 1/3. He's charged with 2 earned runs on 5 hits and a very uncharacteristic 4 walks. He also struck out 4. So that finger was a problem.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah, you could tell it. His reactions and the way he was handling it. And, you know, give the Minnesota Twins a little credit laying off of those pitches, making him attempt to throw the ball into the strike zone.
That ball gets away from Castro, goes all the way back to the backstop. Now, we talked about the Twins and how few wild pitches they have had this season. Coming into this game, just 42 wild pitches. That's going to be a wild pitch again, I would believe. The fewest wild pitches in the American League. The Boston Red Sox have just 41 wild pitches. That will be the 43rd wild pitch charged to the Twins pitching staff.
And it's a big one if you're a Blue Jays fan. Takes the double play away. You know, they give up a couple of runs and they come right back. Lead off walk, wild pitch to second base. Now they got 2 shots to try and drive them in.
Carrera has singled and walked so far. He had a sharp single up the middle his first time up. Bullpen is working. Husinich and Bossers, lefty and a righty.
Well, if you get a ball into the outfield, pick on somebody other than that center fielder. Byron Buxton's got a great arm. He's got 6 outfield assists. He charges the ball cleanly.
Two and two now, 1 out.
We'll get a base hit. How about an extra base hit? And then Buxton's arm doesn't come into play.
Little chopper out in front of the mound, and Barrios checks Morales. He had to hold at second, so Barrios out 1-3 on the ground out. So Ryan Goins will come to the plate with a man at second. Goins has flied out twice, once to center, once to right. Upstairs for a ball. Blue Jays trail 2-1. They've stranded 6. Minnesota has stranded 5. Blue Jays left the bases loaded in the second. Richard Urena struck out the end of the inning with the bases loaded.
Barrios hasn't had his best stuff today, but he has battled his way here into the 6th inning. Too many walks. He hasn't been able to command that fastball like he has in his previous starts.
Fastball off the plate again.
I wonder if they lose his Goins here, if he's going to let Lopez face Barrios.
Lopez hit a double last time up. There's a strike to Goins. 3-1 now. Morales at second doesn't have great speed. The outfield isn't that deep, and we have seen Goins drive the ball to the alleys. Goins has 7 home runs, and he certainly has extra base power. 19 doubles and a triple. There's a base hit to right at Rosario, and they're going to have to stop Morales. Goins hit it right at the right fielder, and Morales had no chance to score.
Yeah, even if you had your fastest guy on the team, he was not going to score. That ball was just hit too hard by Goins, and it was right at Rosario. All over this 3-1 fastball, right down Broadway, and he smokes it into right field. And unfortunately for the Jays, he couldn't get the ball to the left or the right of the outfielder, and it was directly at him. So that will send Berríos to the bench.
So Berríos is out. He has pitched around a couple of tough situations, but he leaves with the lead. They have a pitching change. A lefty, Lenny Boshears, will be on to face Rafi Lopez when we come back. Ball game, taking over for Jose Berríos, the starter. Boshears making his 33rd appearance of the season.
The left-hander spent some time in the independent league. He was originally a draft pick of the Los Angeles Angels in 2008 in the 4th round. He has spent some time, a little bit of time this year with the Twins. And that move to bring him in to face the left-handed Lopez has made the Blue Jays counter.
They've countered with Teoscar Hernandez, who will come on to pinch hit here in the 6th inning. Runners at the corners with 2 outs. The Blue Jays trail 2-1. So Teoscar Hernandez will come off the bench. Hernandez batting .324 for the Blue Jays with 4 doubles, 2 homers, and 7 RBIs.
Send up a hot hitter with runners in scoring position. I think that's the idea right here. Hernandez has put up some good at bats lately, hitting the ball with authority the other way.
This is his first pitch hitting opportunity since coming to the Jays. But you saw the numbers, .324 average for Hernandez. There's pitch, breaking ball in there, and that's always a good pitch to a pinch hitter just coming off the bench.
That's his best pitch right there. He's got that big curveball. His fastball is in the low 90s. Complements it with that big overhand curveball. Long delivery. Got a little deception to the way he throws that baseball.
Off the plate. We know Hernandez has power to the opposite field. He's homered to center and homered to right. He hit both those home runs in the game last homestand. Hasn't been as effective as he would like, pitching with inherited runners. Good take. That ball is off the plate. No swing. according to the first base umpire Ryan Blakely. So Hernandez has the count in his favor. 2 balls and a strike. Morales walked to start the inning. He's now at third base, and Goins singled. With 2 outs, he's at first. That's your best pitch. Use it to get yourself out of a jam, and he drops that hook in there.
He can throw it when he's behind in the count also. That was a fastball count, and he crossed him up with that slow curveball. He was signed by the Twins as a free agent December of 2015 for a little organizational depth, pitching in a big spot.
Now the breaking ball, this one's pulled foul. Minnesota Twins have won 10 of their last 12 home games. They've played good ball of late at home. For the season, they're just .500 here at Target Field, which is kind of unusual. They've actually had a better record on the road, 39-32, playing away from Target Field.
They've had a nice little run here to get back to .500 at home.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Came right back with that breaking ball, and the backswing really clipped Castro on the back of the helmet. That ends the inning as the pinch hitter strikes out. The Blue Jays threaten but can't break through. The big breaking ball from Boshiers ends the inning. And then Castro gets hit on the top of the head. Former #2 overall pick in 2012, and he put on a show in Toronto the last time he was there.
Well, he showed off his athleticism, a great play in the outfield. He showed off his arm on that one throw to the plate. They made a little bit of a change in his batting style. He had a higher leg kick earlier this year. They took that leg kick away from him, spread him out just a little bit more right now, quieted down his swing, and he has just taken off. You just saw those 3 home runs. Every one of them were lasers into the outfield. He's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of athleticism. And he's just really learning the game as he's gaining a lot of experience here at the big league level.
That 3 home run game came on Sunday, August 27th. He was actually 4 for 5 in the game. He scored 4 runs and drove in 5. He had a terrific game at Rogers Center. Danny Barnes came in through 1 pitch to close out the 5th inning. He got Eduardo Escobar to line into a double play. Luke Maile takes over behind the plate. Rafi Lopez was lifted for the pinch hitter, Hernandez.
Now Buxton is so quiet at the plate. You don't see that high leg kick and a lot of movement with his lower half.
High pop-up on the infield. Second baseman Ryan Goins stays with it and makes the catch. Buxton's retired. It's been a funny night for the way the balls have carried. And Pat, you and I both were remarking how the ball was flying during batting practice, and it hasn't been the same once the game started. It hasn't cooled off much, but the wind's changed.
When we were down there, I'm like, this is going to be an 8-7 or a 9-7 ball game. The way the ball was flying, we all know how both of these teams can hit home runs, and they were losing baseball after baseball, but once the game started, you could tell things were a little bit different.
This ball's going to drop for a hit. Bautista trying to cut it off, and he does. He plays it back in quickly. Rosario made a good big turn and had to hustle back to first safely. Rosario's 2 for 3.
Available Honda Sensing in the all-new 2017 CR-V, designed to help keep you safe wherever you play. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We're in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're at Target Field, game 1 of a 4-game series. Kenny Vargas, the big first baseman, turns around the bat left-handed for the first time tonight.
Here is one of those guys who was losing at baseball after baseball during batting practice. This is a big dude right here.
Big indeed, and power from both sides of the plate. He hit his 12th double of the season back in the 2nd inning. Out on the corner. 0-1 to Vargas. They have another big dude that's on the DL right now, and Miguel Sano, the third baseman, and he's had a good season, but he fouled the ball off his shin, and he's dealing with a stress reaction. He is progressing, but there's still no timetable for his return. Boy, what a jump he got. There's the throw from Maley, a good one, but not in time. What a terrific jump by Rosario. He picks up his 9th steal. Maley was very patient and made a strong throw, but he didn't have much of a chance.
He made it close, though. What a running start over at first base. He's halfway there before Barnes even lets go of the baseball. But Maley, with a great throw right on the bag, made it close. Rosario's got 9 stolen bases now, but he's been thrown out 8 times. Watch how he comes out firing and then covers third base just in case.
Donaldson was the one that took the throw at second. He was the third baseman, so there was no one at third. Good job by Maley. Luke has made 34 starts for the Blue Jays. But this is always a challenge for catchers to come into a game midstream and have to make a throw like he did, but he made a good one. Just didn't have much of a chance. The Twins lead at 2-1. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Change up off the plate.
He is looking for something down and in. We were standing around the cage today. We don't play the Twins a lot, and we haven't seen Sano. I said, is that Sano or is that Vargas? I said, Vargas.
There's a big changeup for Barnes. He strikes him out. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Blue Jays have the right-hander Tom Kohler, the left-hander Matt Dermody. So they are loosening up behind Barnes. This is probably going to be it for Danny Barnes. He got out of the 5th inning, and if he can get out of the 6th inning, I think that's all they can ask of Barnes tonight.
Yeah, he can get left-handers out with that changeup. He just witnessed that against Vargas. Now he gets another lefty in Castro. Jason likes to go up there swinging.
Maley fakes a throw to second. There was no one covering, but what he has done is he's taken a little bit of the aggressiveness away from Rosario.
He's an aggressive, free-spirited type of player. He hit the game-winning home run in last night's ball game and had some kind of celebration after the game.
Off the plate. You mentioned Barnes' ability to neutralize left-handed bats. They're hitting just 174 against him this season.
That's where that changeup comes into effect. And he's not afraid to throw it at any time in a count to a lefty.
2 balls and no strikes. Throws it for a strike there. That's a good changeup. outside for ball 3. Danny Barnes trying to end this bottom of the 6th inning. Rosario single to right, stole second base. Vargas has struck out. Now Jason Castro with a 3-1 count. He walks him. Avery Adrianza is a switch hitter as well. Blue Jays have lefties and righties throwing. Now it looks like Dermody sat down. Kohler is still throwing. Pete Walker checking on the status of the bullpen.
Looks like they're going to stick with Barnes. He's the most experienced pitcher out of the bullpen of the names that you fashioned there, right there. Got to be able to get the number 9 hitter.
Adrianza has walked and scored. That was in the 5th. He's also struck out. Way outside.
This is uncharacteristic of Barnes. Normally a strike thrower, and attacks these hitters.
Adrianza takes another pitch outside, and Barnes hasn't been close to what we have normally seen from him as far as his fastball command.
Yeah, it's normally right there. Fell behind Castro and tried to get him to fish for some of those change-ups. Now he has fallen behind Adrianza. Probably going to be his last batter.
Two and one now. Bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Jays trying to close out the Twins here with the number 9 hitter at the plate. Popped up. Donaldson will give chase. So that's going to be well out of play.
Well, if he wants to get him, I think this is where you want to get him, right here on a 2-2 pitch. Throw him your best pitch right here. You don't want the count to go to 3-2 and get those runners having a head start. 3-2, 2 outs. So this is where you want to get him.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Rosario's at second. Castro's at first. Another pop back over the screen, out of play.
And he went with his changeup, his best pitch. He will throw. I think these guys, you got to keep them in the middle of the diamond. I think a high fastball would be a good play right here. Long fly ball to center field.
He doesn't have much power. He's got just 2 home runs. Give him something he can hit in the air. Mainly wants to talk about it now. Obviously a very important pitch here. Luke just into the ball game this inning. After the starter, Rafi Lopez was removed for the pinch hitter.
He'll go out there and say, hey, what do you think about a high fastball right here? Your changeup there, they seem to have gotten on it, and they see your changeup a little bit better. You haven't been able to throw it where you want to. What do you think? And Danny will tell him what he thinks. So maybe you're right.
The final decision certainly is in the pitcher's hands. 2-2. Rolls over that changeup. The reason it's in the pitcher's hand, he has to have
confidence.
Conviction.
Yes.
He has to understand that that's the pitch he wants to throw. You force a pitcher to throw a pitch that he's not sure about, it's never going to work out. So you just go out and talk about it and say, okay, here's what I think. Yeah, I can do that.
You ever talk a pitcher into something that you were thinking?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I regretted it. The ground ball up the middle. Urania will step on the bag, and Barnes gets out of it. Good job by Danny Barnes. It's an inning and 2/3 as he closes out the Twins in the 6th. Keeps it a 1-run game. Minnesota has a 2-1 lead. Top of the order when we come back.
Brett Anderson leaving the ball game. He was looking down at his left hand, went into the tunnel towards the clubhouse, followed very closely by pitching coach Pete Walker and head trainer George Poulis. I'm told by a team source that he's dealing with a hot spot on his left index finger. So it's the index finger that he's having issues with, Buck. We'll try to hear more from Brett post-game in the clubhouse. Back to you.
Yeah, and that's another unusual spot. You don't normally see a pitcher dealing with that on the index finger. The most common blister will occur on somewhere on the middle finger because that longest finger is the last point that touches the baseball. We had talked about the inside of his ring finger being a problem, so who knows what the extent of that is. But it certainly affected him. There's no question about that.
That's where he told us it was bothering him. But tonight, something different. Here's something different. This is Alan Busnitz. Busnitz in 21 games for Minnesota's got a 1-1 record, just 25 in the 3rd innings. But he's had 17 strikeouts. He began the season with the AAA team in Rochester. He went 3-0 there with a 178 earned run average. Here he is in the big leagues, and he's got pretty good stuff. He hides the ball well. It's deceptive. He's got good command. His fastballs can rush it up there in the upper 90s, and a good downhill break to his curveball. So he's been pitching some bigger innings for the Minnesota Twins since they brought him back up. Paul Molitor's trusting him here with a 1-run lead.
Top of the order for the Blue Jays. It'll be Urania Donaldson and Smoke here in the 7th. First pitch breaking ball in there for strike 1. Urania's 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts and a sacrifice bunt. He pulled off the bunt in the 5th inning. Easy velocity at 96.
Yeah, he can get it up to the upper 90s when he gets loose. He's got a little show-me changeup that he'll toy around with, but it's basically firm. Hard fastball, hard breaking ball.
Busnitz came from the Angels in the Ricky Nolasco, Alex Myers deal. He's 27 years old. There's a drive to left field. And Adrianza is there, 1 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell's got an update for us. I tell you what, it's a magical stretch the Indians have been on now for a while, down to their final out, and Lindor comes through with the game-tying hit, his first hit in 5 at-bats.
Sounds like they were down to their last strike, didn't it? How about that? Magical indeed.
going for their 22nd straight win. That would be the second longest win streak ever. Josh Donaldson takes a strike. It's 1-1 on JD.
You see what their starters are, what their record is in that streak? They're 19-0, their starters, with an ERA of 170.
They've had shutouts. They've had low run scoring games. It's been ridiculous how well they have played. Every aspect of the play has been impressive.
I thought I saw somewhere going into tonight's game they'd given up 2 unearned runs in those 22 games.
Good defense, good clutch hitting, great relief pitching. They got Andrew Miller back on the active roster tonight. And Miller actually pitched. He pitched an inning, gave up 2 hits, struck out a batter, so he is back in action for Cleveland. Been on the DL twice with knee problems. Josh Donaldson is 1 for 2. He walked and had an RBI pop single in the 5th. That's been the only Blue Jays run. He takes another walk here. Second walk for Donaldson tonight.
Didn't look like he wanted any part of Donaldson right there. Everything was up and away. And if he swung at it, he'd get himself out. But Josh ended up taking the walk, passed the baton to the big home run hitter behind him.
Blue Jays have drawn 5 walks so far tonight. Justin Smoak is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Seventh inning in a 1-run game. Blue Jays trail 2-1. Breaking ball is down. Castro thought it was a strike. When he came out of the chute, a little hesitant as he was throwing the ball back to the pitcher, Chris Conroy, the home plate umpire. Big swing by Smoak. He's late on that fastball, 97 miles an hour.
Free and easy with some late movement on it, too.
That's what the hitters are called easy cheese. You don't expect it to be that hard.
I think that's going to be a trade that's going to work out for both of those teams. Ricky Nolasco, Alex Meyer for Santiago, and this kid.
Breaking ball inside. 2 balls and a strike. Foul ball. Smoak in this ballpark has never hit a home run. This is his 24th career game playing here at Target Field, and he has 4 doubles but no home runs.
All right.
Perfect time for number 1.
Perfect time for it. He's just the guy to do it. Cut one through that wind in right field.
Outside, off speed pitch. Full count now. You start the runner here. Donaldson, take a shot. Get him into scoring position.
Boy, I don't want to run into an out. You know, Smokey can knock one out of here.
Donaldson's not running. Smoak hits it into right. That's going to get down for a base hit. Rosario cuts it off. Donaldson goes around second, headed for third. He'll stop there as Smoak gets his first hit of the night. And the Blue Jays are knocking on the door here in the 7th.
Here they come again. You don't start the runner because you're afraid of a strike him out, throw him out. But they come up with a base hit. They throw him a 3-2 breaking ball. And Smoak, who has become a very good breaking ball hitter, flashes it into right field. Donaldson to third base. Paul Molitor the mound.
So Busenitz is out. Pitching change. Jose Bautista is the scheduled batter. Trevor Hildenberger will come in. Bautista getting some information on the righty. Pitching change here in Minnesota. The Blue Jays threatening to tie it up. In to face Jose Bautista. The Blue Jays have runners at the corners and 1 out, and the Twins have a 2-1 lead.
Hildenberger has been their savior, if you will, in their bullpen. He's come out of nowhere in 30 games and done a heck of a job. He's got that funky sidearm delivery, and when he is on, that little sinker creates a lot of ground balls. That's what they're looking for tonight. Last night he pitched in the game and gave up the home run. He pitched an inning and a third, gave up the home run to Austin Hedges and got charged with his second blown save. They would go on to win that game on the walk-off home run from Rosario. And Hildenberger, when he is on with that sinker slider curveball, he gets a lot of ground balls.
Jose Bautista, there's that big sweeping slider for strike 1. He's got that sidearm delivery, but every once in a while he'll surprise you by coming over the top and using that four-seam fastball.
With 2 strikes. Everything is sidearm, and then he'll straighten up with 2 strikes and try and ride it up in the strike zone. Let's see if he does it here. Well, he might want to stay down there to get the ground ball.
No reason to elevate anything in this situation. You can see how he grips that ball with that changeup grip, but he's got a wicked breaking ball. Tough on righties. 0-2. Bautista in a hole. Another breaking ball too low.
That's a slow breaking ball. It's just 74 miles an hour. It looked like Jose saw it all the way.
149 the hitters have hit facing Hildenberger with 2 strikes. Boy, 77 miles an hour, and he gets the strikeout.
He's got enough fastball that you have to respect the fastball, but when he throws that off-speed pitch, he'll catch you out in front, and that's where Jose is, way out in front on that changeup. As he swings right through it.
Neil Allen is the pitching coach for Minnesota. As you take a look at that changeup, and he really delivers it with that fastball arm action. Bautista was fooled dramatically as Allen wants to come out and go over the next batter, Kendrys Morales. Morales is 0 for 2. He walked his last time up back in the 6th.
Might they be talking about, hey, we got a 1-run lead. Pitch around this guy, face the righty, but should be putting the go-ahead run in scoring position.
If you're going to do that, and I agree that might be part of the strategy, but just go ahead and walk Morales. Don't mess around. And then trust Hildenberger to throw strikes to Pilar. Pilar is a free swinger. And with that breaking ball and big changeup, that might be a better matchup for the Twins than Morales against Hildenberger.
You know, what's interesting about this is the defense isn't shifting. So maybe they're going to pitch to Morales now. Remember, they had 3 infielders on the right side, and he beat him his first time up with a single to left field.
Donaldson's at third, Smokes at first. Blue Jays trying to tie it up here in the 7th. Each team with 6 hits. They don't want anything to do with them.
Doesn't look like it after those first 2 pitches. They're not even close.
26-year-old Trevor Hildenberger trying to close out the Blue Jays here in the top of the 7th. If he wants to chase, let him chase, but don't give him anything to hit. All 3 pitches in the same spot. You couldn't hit those with a boat oar.
Put 4 fingers up. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, he threw him a strike. Changeup. I think you're messing with danger even to throw anything close. Too close. 90 miles an hour, but there's such a wide variance in his velocity. Really makes you focus on just trying to stay back.
This should be interesting here.
He's got to throw him a changeup.
He's got to throw him a changeup here, and if he walks him, ain't no big deal.
Now he wants to talk things over with Jason Castro, the catcher. Smoke at first will be running on the pitch, and Vargas has backed up way behind him at first. So he'll get a big lead and an early jump. The defense basically straight away. Infield pretty much straight away. The outfield slightly to the pool side. So now they're set. 3-2, 2 outs. There goes Smoke. Right down the middle. 93. And they surprise everybody in the place. After falling behind 3-0, throws him a changeup to get back in it, and then strikes him out with a fastball. 93 miles an hour, right down the middle. Morales can't pull the trigger. On Sportsnet, and we got a National League Central rivalry. The Cardinals in Chicago to take on the Cubs. It all starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And the Cardinals, they won today. They beat Cincinnati 5-2. The Cubs are beating the Mets 9-5 in Chicago. They were in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Cardinals at the start of play 3 games back, so they're currently 2.5 back in the National League Central. So check it out tomorrow afternoon. It all starts at 2 Eastern.
Cubs started a rookie today in the pennant
How about
race,
that?
and it almost backfired on them, but they've now taken the lead. Tom Kohler will take his place on the mound. He's 1-7 with a .688 earned run average. Kohler has liked where he has been put in that bullpen. He provides some power from the right side, the back end of that bullpen. This is the perfect time to bring him in here. You turn that lineup over. You got 3 of their better hitters coming up in Dozier, Mauer, and Polanco. So John Gibbons wants a little bit more power. And Tom Kohler, with that big fastball, big curveball combination, has been pitching very well out of the pen.
Give Dozier a different look. First pitch, breaking ball for strike 1. Dozier's 0 for 2. He walked and scored in the 5th. He scored on the Polanco 2-run single. Another good breaking ball.
I like Tom Kohler's breaking ball. He creates a lot of spin on that thing. There's only so many people who can spin the baseball like that. I think it's an art. You either have that ability to spin a breaking ball or not, and Tom has that to go along with a pretty good fastball.
Dozier's 0 for 3 facing Kohler in his career. Kohler pitching just for the second time here at Target Field. He made a start here while pitching for the Marlins. For his career, Kohler has made 2 starts against the Twins. This is his first relief appearance against Minnesota. Breaking ball in the dirt.
Scatter report on Brian Dozier is he can turn anybody's fastball around. And he likes to get on top of that plate and pull it.
He hits a lot like Dustin Pedroia. He likes the high fastball. He got a lot of power. Not big in stature, but he has a potent bat.
So they are trying to throw breaking balls down and away. Luke had a sign that he put down and then asked him to step off the mound. Say, let's go through this again. They're going to challenge him.
Well, we've just found out that the Cleveland Indians scored a run in the bottom of the 10th. They beat Kansas City 3-2.
Wow.
To stretch that win streak to 22 straight games. Down to their last strike, trailing in the bottom of the 9th. Lindor tied it up. Little chopper toward third. Donaldson quickly, just in time. Nice play. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Jamie, they keep playing like this. They are going to win the World Series. So many players have contributed to this 22-game win streak, and not a lot of people are talking about the Jay Bruce acquisition, but that was a key move by Cleveland.
They needed that. Michael Brantley went down. They needed a little bit more offense. Jay Bruce, welcome to the Indians with the walk-off. We were talking earlier that they've had so many different ways of winning games. They haven't had a lot of walk-offs.
First pitch curveball to Joe Mauer. That's that slider that bounced on home plate. 1-1 count. Mauer is 1 for 2 with a walk. Off the plate. The Blue Jays continue to play Mauer to the opposite field, even with a right-handed pitcher on the mound. His first 3 plate appearances came against Brett Anderson. He singled in the first, grounded out in the third, and walked in the 5th. Mauer has 4 at-bats against Kohler. He's 1 for 4. Bottom of the 7th inning, Minnesota with a 2-1 lead in the opener of this 4-game series. Three and 2 now. Both teams scored in the 5th inning. Blue Jays scored a run, and then Minnesota scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th. Donaldson with an RBI bloop single. Jorge Polanco with a 2-run single to left. The only scoring in the game. Pull on the ground, but right to Goins. He goes to smoke. Flowers retired, 2 away. Drive of the game brought to you by the powerful all-new 2017 Civic Type R.
We were talking earlier about players having to have career years for your team to do well. Well, the bases loaded. Jorge Polanco was up Before this season, his high in RBIs in the big leagues, 27. That was last year. This 2-run single, RBIs number 65 and 66 for Polanco. That is tonight's driver of the game. What a season he is putting together.
2 outs for Polanco. He takes the first pitch away. Polanco is 1 for 3. Every year, everybody has their predictions about where teams will end up. Minnesota was not expected to contend. Baseball Reference, which so many people refer to for all their baseball information, predicted that Minnesota would go 69 and 93. And that would be a 10-game improvement from 2016. They come into this game 2 games out of the wild card, or 2 games ahead in the wild card, and they've won 76 games already.
2 seasons ago, Paul Molitor's team took it right down to the final week of the season. They won 83 games and missed the playoffs by, I believe, 3 games. Last year, nothing went right for them. They got off to an awful start and they never recovered. This year is more like 2015.
Good curveball, but just a little bit high. 3 balls and a strike. Tom Kohler taking over from Danny Barnes. Barnes went an inning and 2/3. Brian Anderson out of the ballgame in the 5th inning with just 1 out. Ball is hit high and deep, but well foul. Out onto the mezzanine area. Well beyond those seats in right, but way foul.
I was just talking about his RBIs. His home runs, 4 was his career high set last year for Polanco. He's up to 11 this year. I think you need 3 guys to have career years for your team to get into the playoffs.
This one's long and close and foul again. They put a charge in that one. That was even a little bit further. Paul Molitor is going to come out and ask the umpires if they'll reconsider the call. Checking with Chris Conroy, the home plate umpire, he said, listen, that was over the top of the foul pole, and they're going to have a look at this. The crew chief is Jerry Meals, the second base umpire. And this ball was over the foul pole, and difficult to tell from the angle of that camera whether or not it was fair or foul, but the umpires are going to have a look at it. First base umpire Ryan Blakely made the call, so he and the crew chief Jerry Meals will put the headsets on. No doubt about the distance.
Yeah.
And what they need to do is make the foul poles higher.
make them higher. Maybe put a camera on them. You know, they can do everything else. Unless they have a different camera angle than the one we just saw, that looked like it was foul. I'm not sure where that camera angle was, if it was down the line or what. This is almost right down the line. Polanco gets the head out, and there it goes.
Not back into the picture yet. There it is. Yeah, it clearly looks to be foul. But they'll take as many looks as they need to get the best angle. And it looks like they've already gotten the decision. Foul ball. So after review, call on the field, it stands. So it's another long strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Minnesota leads it 2-1. Tom Kohler came in this inning in relief. He got a ground ball off the bat of Dozier, another off the bat of Mauer. Slider in the dirt. He walks Polanco. A 2-out walk.
That's 6 walks now by the Blue Jay pitchers in 6 2/3 innings.
When you look at the meat of this order, 3, 4, and 5, they're all young players. Polanco and Escobar both switch hitters, but they wouldn't make you think middle of the order hitters. They're just not big guys, but they certainly have been productive.
Yeah, they don't look like your classic American League sluggers in the middle of the lineup, but Escobar's got 18 home runs.
Well, they check in on Polanco. He has 10 steals, but he's been caught 5 times. Anything's possible in a one-run game with a Paul Molitor team. They'll try to steal one. Rosario stole second in the 6th inning, not running here. Escobar has gone 0 for 2 so far. He lined out, hit a shot in the 5th inning. Goins turned it into an inning-ending double play. Goins playing at second tonight. The Twins outscored San Diego 19-1 in sweeping a short 2-game series. But tonight the Blue Jays pitchers have held them to just 2 runs. That 2-game series sweep gives the Twins 10 sweeps this season. That's the most series sweeps they've had in a single season since 2006.
What are they waiting for with this guy right here? Isn't he a free agent at the end of the year?
Yeah, he is. And there was a lot of talk after the disappointing season last year that they might replace him, but I think he's pretty secure now. Not running at first, and Escobar goes after it.
I think Paulie knows what he's doing back there.
You think?
He's guided a team that Baseball Reference said was going to lose 90 plus.
Baseball Reference said 93 losses with a 69-93 record. And that was a 10-game improvement from the previous season. They lost 103 in 2016. Popped up. Shallow center field. Pilar, a long run. He's still coming in. He gets there and makes the catch. That ends the inning. Good inning for Tom Coleman. He keeps it a 1-run game. We'll go to the 8th. The Blue Jays trail 2-1. It'll be Pilar, Carrera, and Goins hitting when we come back to Target Field.
Fans, J Shop at Rogers Center and CF Toronto Eaton Center are the official team shops for your Toronto Blue Jays. Save up to $70. Buy any in-stock adult player jersey and pay the price of a blank jersey. Details for you in store. Available at all J Shop locations, jshop.ca, or by calling 1-877-J-SHOP. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hazel. A lot of fans here have their Jays Shop merchandise as they're wearing it. Ballpark. We've reached the 8th inning. A couple of changes for Minnesota. The starting right fielder, Eddie Rosario, moves over to left field. And with that, Max Kepler comes off the bench to take over in right field. Kepler will be batting in the 9th spot. Kevin Pillar will lead things off for the Blue Jays. He's 1 for 3, and he pulls that ball foul outside of third. Pillar singled his first time up in the 2nd, has since popped out and flied out. Trevor Hildenberger came in with 2 on and 1 out. He struck out Bautista and then caught Kendrys Morales looking at strike 3.
Matt Belisle is their closer. He will handle the 9th inning. 8th inning, they might go righties versus the righties and lefties versus the lefties. Blue Jays have a couple of lefties coming up after Pilar and Carrera and Goins.
Hilgenberger has struck out all 3 batters he's faced since coming into the game, and Paul Molitor is already out of the dugout. He's made the call to the bullpen. He wants the left-hander. Hilgenberger strikes out Bautista, Morales, and Pilar 3 in a row in the 3 batters he faces. So he did his job. Now Molitor will go to the bullpen with Carrera, the scheduled batter for the Blue Jays in this 1-run game. Pitching change. Plans to come to Rogers Center on Saturday, September 23rd. There has been a game time change. It will now start at 4:07 p.m. on Saturday. The Yankees will be there. That'll be game 2 of the final series of the season. So put that in your calendar. That game will start at 4:07. This is Taylor Rogers, the lefty, who was summoned into the game to pitch to Ryan Goins.
Figure they would play some matchup here in the 8th inning. 63 games for Rogers. That is a new career high, passing the 57 he had last year. He's not overpowering, and he will get a pinch hitter.
Rob Refsnyder is batting for Ryan Goins. Goins finishes up 1 for 2 with a walk. Refsnyder pinch hitting, trying to get something going with 1 out here in the 8th. Breaking ball catches the outside corner.
Rogers also pitched in last night's game. Just a third of an inning, gave up a base hit. With that slow curveball, he's got 2 speeds on that curveball, and he can also sink his fastball.
I mentioned he was hitting for Goins. He's hitting for Carrera. Goins is on deck. Off the plate. 3-1. Ball 4. Ball in the dirt. 1 out walk to Refsnyder. And now Goins is called back to the dugout. He'll give way to the pinch hitter, and the pinch hitter will be Darwin Barney, who will come on and bat for Ryan Goins.
Plenty of able bodies on both sides for these teams. If you want to match up in the 8th inning, told you Belisle again is their closer. So Paul Molitor is trying to figure out how to get out of the 8th inning and get to his closer with the lead.
Obviously very challenging in the month of September with all the extra bodies. You really got to do a good job of bookkeeping if you're the manager. Making sure you got all of the able bodies on the opposing team's bench. So Barney will pinch hit for Goins. Refsnyder's at first. Barney is 3 for 15 as a pinch hitter this season. Ground ball up the middle. Dozier flips to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time. And the ball is dropped by Vargas at first. I didn't know that they were going to get Barney anyway. It looked like it was off the bag. It pulled Vargas wide of first, and he couldn't hang on to the ball.
You know, the throw from Dozier was at a funny angle towards the shortstop. So when the shortstop, Polanco, came across the bag, watch him as he comes across the feed. You see it's almost behind him, and he's got to clear. So the throw takes off just a little bit. That is a tough angle to catch, find the bag, and still make the throw over to first base. If he holds on to it, he's out.
Yeah, if he holds on to it, he is clearly out. Polanco does a nice job of making a good throw, but Vargas doesn't give him a good stretch. So Barney is safe at first. That keeps the inning going. Luke Maile batting for the first time this evening. Took over defensively in the 6th. Maile had a big hit in Tuesday night's game off Zach Britton to tie it up. Had an RBI single to knock in the 2nd run as he knocked in Kevin Pillar in the 9th inning. That made it a 2-2 game, and then the game winner came off the bat of Richard Urania.
He has looked much better offensively since coming back. 3-game hit streak for Luke, 5 for 12. There are the numbers with a couple of doubles.
Had a good cut at that pitch.
Good hack right there. The outfielders are a little deep, and the third baseman Escobar got to be guarding the line at third base. No doubles.
Maile had a good game on Saturday against the Tigers. He had 3 good plate appearances. Ended up with an RBI single and a double. He scored a run. So he's been swinging the bat much better since coming back from that knee surgery. Breaking ball is high. It's 2 balls and a strike. Both teams scored their runs in the 5th inning. Blue Jays got a single run in the top half, and the Twins scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th. That's been it all night long.
Blue Jays have left 10 runners on base. The Twins have left 8. So each team has had their opportunities tonight. Darwin with not much of a lead over there at first base.
Darwin has 7 stolen bases. He's been caught twice. You have to be pretty confident you could make it to run in this situation. Not going. Foul back by Maile. Talk about the importance of an 8th inning pitcher, and Taylor Rogers has led the pack in American League holds. Nick Vincent of the Mariners, and then Tommy Hunter of the Rays. Brian Shaw, boy, he's part of that terrific bullpen in Cleveland.
Those 28 saves by Rogers, the most for a Twin since Matt Guerrier had 33 in 2009.
Breaking ball is off the plate. It's 3-2 now. So Barney at first represents a tying run. They're going to hold him close as Vargas stays put on the bag. They're trying to keep Barney from getting a big lead. There goes the runner. Maile hits it to right. Kepler backing up a few steps, makes the catch, and it ends the inning. So we're going to the bottom of the 8th. Minnesota leads it 2-1. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. Authority of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. A good ball game. The Blue Jays are on the wrong side of a 2-1 game, and Leonel Campos will come out of the Blue Jays bullpen to work the bottom of the 8th.
This is his 8th separate stint with the Blue Jays this year. He was recalled after the season in Buffalo was over. That was 6 days ago. He's only pitched in 10 games this year for the Blue Jays, so he has almost as many appearances as stints up and down with this team. Good fastball, good curveball at times. He had some decent games for the Blue Jays coming out of the bullpen. So Campos becomes the 3rd reliever tonight for Toronto. A couple other changes for the Blue Jays.
Darwin Barney stays in the game and plays second base. Rob Refsnyder, also pinch hitter. He is in left field defensively. And now he's getting some instruction from the bench. He backs up a few steps. Byron Buxton will lead things on. Buxton has gone 1 for 3 to this point. Shows bunt. We know he can bunt. We have seen him do that. He had a bunt single in last night's game. It was a big point of that ball game.
Yeah, and all it takes is just one small hesitation because he runs so well. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense to field it cleanly. You see him taking a look at Josh Donaldson very quickly. See where Josh is. He doesn't have to bunt the ball perfectly because he runs so well. Josh trying to take it away from him. He's playing in now. I'm sure Buxton will keep looking down there now. 2-0.
I don't think he's going to bunt now. He's got the count in his favor. He gets a couple of free swings here. He's taking all the way. 22,664 here in attendance at Target Field for game 1 of this series. It's a 4-game series. Tomorrow's pitching matchup, Jay Happel against Bartolo Colon. Ball 3.
Boy, the Twins are trying to eke out an extra run here. Blue Jays are trying to prevent it. It would help to keep him off the bases.
Yeah, he's such a great base runner. You can ill afford to walk him to start the inning. And he does. Ball 4 outside, so Buxton's aboard for a second time tonight. So Campos comes in, walks the leadoff man. Rosario is the batter, and that's all going to be it for Campos. Just one man faced, and he walked him. So Rosario's the batter, left-handed hitter, and Luke the lefty will come on to face him. It's a 1-run game. We're in the 8th in Minnesota.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda VersaTach. Meet our ultimate yard work companion with up to 7 interchangeable attachments.
Aaron Loup has not pitched since September 6th. That was in Boston against the Red Sox. He has been idle for quite a while. His 64th appearance of the season, and he will face the lefty Eddie Rosario.
The most experienced left-hander that the Blue Jays have down in that bullpen. Loup has done a good job in his 63 games this year. He is called in to face the left-handed hitting Rosario. Lefties are hitting a little bit higher batting average than righties against Loup. I think everybody knows that Buxton wants to run here.
Rosario bunts it back toward the mound. Loup's throw is into the runner. So Rosario is safe. I think Smoke had to reach into the base pad. I'm not sure if it hit the runner or Smoke had his glove hit the runner as he was trying to make the catch, but the ball dropped. All hands are safe.
Yeah, he took his time, which was what you want to do. No chance to get the runner at second base. Aaron takes his time. Now the throw's got to be on the inside part of the infield, but it goes right into the runner. And it hits him right in the backside. No chance for Smoke.
It's a sacrifice for Rosario. Loup will be charged with an error as he throws it into the base runner, and no chance for Smoke to make a catch at all. So 2 aboard. Loup throws a first pitch strike to Vargas. Vargas, and I'd not noticed this until you brought it up, but he has a very unusual shuffle step.
Yeah,
in the batter's box.
When he hits right-hander, watch his back foot. He moves towards the plate when the pitches deliver.
On the ground, this should be 2. Second for 1. Barney's return throw in plenty of time. It is a double play. So Vargas bounces into a double play. A big play for the Blue Jays. Buxton ends up at third now, but there are 2 outs.
Well, this is going to work out nice for the Blue Jays because here comes 2 left-handed batters. Walk and an error and a double play grounder. And you got a left-handed hitter in Castro and then a left-handed hitter in Kepler. So a chance to get out of it.
Castro's 1 for 2 against Loup, but this is the guy Loup needs to get. You got to get out of this inning and keep it a 1-run game. Look, Maley got fooled by that pitch, and it may have been a much better pitch than Maley made it look like. I don't know if he got crossed up, but it certainly fooled him. He made a very awkward catch of it. The Twins traded their closer at the trade deadline, Brandon Kinster. They traded him to Washington, and they have been using a lot of different combinations. But now Matt Belisle has been named the closer for the time being. He is loose in the Twins bullpen.
He's kind of standing out there now, just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Well, you got to figure he's coming in no matter what happens here. Fouled off the screen in front of the Blue Jays dugout. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th, top of the order for the Blue Jays, you're Reggie Donaldson and Smoke, so it's imperative you keep it a 2-1 game. Here down to third tonight. Ron Colpus had no swing as Castro checked his swings. A full count with 2 outs. Another lefty on deck is Max Kepler.
And Kepler has not had any luck this year against left-handed pitching. At least Castro's got a decent batting average against left-handed pitching this season. Kepler just 129.
Popped up. Donaldson, the third baseman, will make the catch, and Luke gets out of it. He does a great job. After 2 were on, nobody out, gets a double play and a pop-up. So indeed, he keeps it a 1-run game. So Matt Belisle will come on trying to save it for the Twins. The Blue Jays will counter with the top of their order. 2-1 Minnesota. Matt Belisle has taken over as the closer for Minnesota. He is 7 for 11 since he's moved into that closer's role. He has never had a save opportunity against the Blue Jays.
He has been around a long time in his big league career, so nothing like this is going to affect him. He's a fastball, breaking ball type of pitcher. He doesn't throw that hard like he did when he was younger, but he's got a lot of experience and he's got a lot of know-how, and he knows how to pitch. Belisle has been in the big leagues for a long time. He came up with the Reds for the first time in 2003. So he's got plenty of experience.
Total of 5 major league saves before this season, and he has picked up 7 since making the transition. He's got to deal with the top of the order for the Blue Jays. Urania, Donaldson, and Smoke. Urania is 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. Goes after the first pitch breaking ball. Belisle is 36 years old. He actually turned 37 in June. So as Pat mentioned, he got a lot of experience.
Worked out of the bullpen for the first time in his career in 2005. He was a starter up until then. That ball is fouled off by Urania. He was basically a starter in the minor leagues after he was the Braves' second-round pick in 1998. And then spent some time with the Reds as a starter, then switched to the bullpen in 2005 when he was with Cincinnati.
Yeah, he was one of the promising prospects for the Braves, one of those young starters that was going to come up as they had done so often, developing young talent. He won 12 games as a starter in his second year as a 20-year-old in the minors. He's ahead 0-2 to Urania. He strikes him out. 1 away now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Carly Agro and Ken Reed. Thank you very much, Ken and Carly. That's all coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll bring you up to speed on the 22-game win streak by the Cleveland Indians, and it was rather dramatic. Josh Donaldson has been on base 3 of the 4 times he's come to the plate.
2 of those have been walks. Orioles didn't want to have anything to do with him in the first inning and ended up walking him. Busnitz walked him in the 7th inning. He made it all the way around to third base. Donaldson did in the 7th inning, but was stranded there after a couple of strikeouts.
Little slow roller up the third base line, but it's foul. We mentioned Donaldson and his great success against the Twins. He has the highest OPS since 1913 against the Minnesota Twins. OPS of 1.239 coming into this game. His teammate Jose Bautista is second on that list. He's behind 0-2. Right side.
Lots of breaking balls from Malio. He might show him a fastball, but show it off the plate. He wants to get these right-handed batters out with off-speed stuff.
Another breaking ball. That's Dozier on the shortstop side of second. He throws out Donaldson, and the Blue Jays are down to the final out. And now the third baseman Escobar wants to know where they want him to play, with Smoke coming up to the plate. Smoke, a power hitter. 37 home runs. He singled his last time up. Smoke has 16 home runs in the 7th inning or later. It's later right now.
And he had a home run swing.
First time Smoke has faced Matt Belisle. Swing and a drive. Get up, ball. He's done it again. Home run, Smoke. Number 38.
Oh boy. Blue Jays down to their last out at the 9th inning, and they do it again. Justin Smoke, what a season Smokey's had. That's home run number 38, RBI number 87, and it's sending the fans behind the Blue Jays dugout in a frenzy.
We had mentioned he had not homered here at Target Field, and it's also his 17th home run he's hit in the 7th inning or later. What a big-time swing of the bat. And just like that, it's a 2-2 game. Bautista takes one down and away.
That curveball, which is so effective against righties, going away from him. That breaking ball to lefties, right in the happy zone. And Smokey was all over it. He lined out his first time up. Then a couple of ground outs and a strikeout, then a single. Then he gets this breaking ball down and in. That's where lefties want that ball, down and in.
Bautista hits it in the air to center. Buxton waits for it, and that's going to do it. But what about Justin Smoke? It's been that kind of season for Smoke all year long. Blue Jays down to their last out. Smoke connects against Matt Belisle. His 38th home run that ties it at 2. a career season for Justin Smoke, and the story just got a little bit better with this swing of the bat.
Well, hitting home runs is one thing. Hitting home runs when they count and when they're big home runs, that's another thing. And Smokey's been doing it all year long. He draws closer with Kendrys Morales for the most home runs in a season for 2 switch hitters. I think that's 65 now. They're 3 off the record from Teixeira and Swisher, but none bigger than that one to send this one to the bottom of the 9th.
Loop hits Max Kepler to start the bottom of the 9th, and Kepler had been terrible against left-handed pitching. That's why he didn't start tonight. Batting 129 against left pitching, and Loop hits him to start the inning, and that's going to be it. So Kepler's aboard in this 2-2 game as he is hit by the pitch, and John Gibbons, he didn't waste any time. He had a reliever working, and looks like it's going to be Carlos Ramirez coming out of the bullpen. Pitching change in a 2-2 game, bottom of the 9th. Out the secret weapon. Carlos Ramirez has been terrific. This will be his 7th big league appearance, and he hasn't given up a thing.
That's just his major league numbers. If you delve a little bit deeper and look at his minor league numbers and combine them with those big leagues, he hasn't allowed a run over 46 2/3 innings this year. That's AA, AAA, the major leagues. Hasn't allowed a hit to any of his last 22 batters. It's been simple, fastball, slider, and he's been able to locate really well.
Right-handed hitters are 0 for 22 against Ramirez, and he's got Dozier up as a right-handed hitter. Of course, the Twins are getting their first look at Ramirez. Brian Dozier's a power hitter. He has 30 home runs and 83 RBIs. Kepler at first, hit by the pitch from Loop.
Sometimes that's the best way to hit, where you don't have any information, you're just looking for the baseball.
He gets jammed and pops it up. Urania back into the outfield grass. Makes the catch, and Dozier's retired. Right-handers 0 for 23 against Ramirez.
There's something about his delivery where that ball's got some life, and he can get it in on those righties. He is so cool out on that mound. This doesn't affect him at all. He can pop that fastball inside. He can backdoor a breaking ball. I mean, he's got ways to get you out, and he makes good pitches. That's the bottom line. He makes good pitches from what we have seen.
Well, he's got a real test now with Joe Mauer. Mauer hitting .306 for the season. Mauer's the 3-time batting champ, a former MVP. It's as good as it gets.
And he's hot.
Mauer's got 1,970 career hits, and he has hit in 13 straight home games here at Target Field, including tonight. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Kepler at first. First pitch strike. Mauer always takes that first pitch. I don't care who he's facing. Get a good look at what he's dealing with.
Yeah, especially a player that he has never faced before. He wants to get a good look at that release point. What the ball's doing. Also, good hitters, they like to see the spin of that baseball.
There's that breaking ball quickly. 0-2. Mauer against Ramirez, just not really sure what to expect. You have a scouting report, but nobody can describe what that slider's like because it's got unusual spin on it.
Well, now he has seen it. He has seen what he has to offer.
Down ball. Barney, Urania, Smoke, double play, and Ramirez continues to throw up the zeros. 3 up, 3 down. He gets Mauer to ground into an inning-ending double play, and we're going to extra innings here in Minnesota.
Fans, it's your last chance to see your Blue Jays at Rogers Center. The Kansas City Royals visit for a 3-game series September 19th to the 21st, and then the New York Yankees close out their regular season homestand September 22nd to the 24th. For tickets, as always, BlueJays.com. Back up to the booth with Buck Martinez and Pat Tabler.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. We got another extra inning game. The new pitcher in for Minnesota is Dylan G, who joined Twins from Texas, so he is making his 13th appearance overall this season.
Blue Jays saw him back on August the 26th when he started against them. Dylan G gave up home runs to Kendrys Morales and Josh Donaldson. He ended up giving up 4 earned runs in 4 innings to go along with 7 hits against the Blue Jays. And the first batter that he will face will be Kendrys Morales, who reached him for that home run. That was leading off the 2nd inning. Doesn't throw that hard. Fastball, pretty good breaking ball from G.
So Morales will lead things off. He is 0-for-3 with a walk. And there's a first pitch strike. Well, the Blue Jays have hung in there. They tied it up with 2 outs in the 9th on the Smoke home run. Blue Jays have had plenty of opportunities. They've stranded 11 base runners. The ball is into the seats. Breaking ball, and Morales strikes out. 1 away. Extra innings here in Minneapolis. The Twins have only played 5 extra inning games. They are 2-3 in extra inning games. The Blue Jays, they have played more than their fair share of extra inning games. This is their 19th extra inning game of the season. They are 5-13 in extra inning games.
I know San Francisco had 19 extra inning games. I don't know if we have tied them.
This ball's got a chance to get down, and it will. Pilar headed towards second. Here's the throw, and it is not in time. Kevin Pilar is in there. A hustle double as he beats the throw from Rosario, who had moved from right field to left field. Rosario throwing it from the gap in left center. Not in time.
As determined that Pilar is in center field to make catches, he was determined to turn this ball into a double. I think it surprised Rosario a little bit when Pilar took off, hanging slider, and he says, that's got a chance to get down. With my speed in extra innings, I got to do something to get myself into scoring position. A nice little pop-up slide to leg that into a double.
So with Pilar at second, Blue Jays will go to the bench once again. Rob Refsnyder was the scheduled batter, and Michael Saunders will come off the bench to bat.
Saunders might be their most experienced pinch hitter, simply from the time that he spent in Philadelphia this season.
So Saunders will pinch hit, and G wants to talk things over with his catcher. Michael 2 for 3 against Dylan G. So G has faced him in the past. Pilar at second. Kevin with his 35th double of the season. Saunders goes after the first pitch and hits it to Dozier. He's retired on one pitch. G gets the ground ball. Pilar moves to third. 2 outs in the inning.
Now I'm just moving that runner up to third base. Puts a little bit more pressure on the fielders. Puts a little bit more pressure on the pitcher and the catcher. Nothing to the backstop where Pilar's going to score.
Darwin Barney. Darwin pinch hit in the 8th, hit into a fielder's choice. That's going to slice foul out of play. Ryan Tepera and Luis Santos throwing for the Blue Jays. Roberto Osuna is back with the ball club, but he's not available as he was away from the team on paternity leave.
So it looks like Tepera is closing tonight for the Blue Jays.
That's pulled on the ground. Shortstop Marco has it. Bonnie's out. The inning is over. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th in this 2-2 game in Minnesota. It'll be Polanco, Escobar, and Byron Buxton for the Twins. Jays is the right-hander Luis Santos, who's making his 4th appearance, and he, like Carlos Ramirez, has been a very good pitcher since coming up.
Ridiculous numbers in those 3 games. He has given up a run. His ERA 108, no record. Let's get him his first win here. He's pitched 8 1/3 innings. He's had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. Fastball, slider. He's shown great command, great poise since he has been called up. Doesn't walk anybody. He attacks strike zone. I mean, these 2 players, these 2 young pitchers that they brought up, look like they've been in the big leagues for 10 years each.
Michael Saunders, he's been in the big leagues a while. He pinch hit, and now he takes over defensively in left field as Ref Snyder is out. So Santos will work to the middle of the order. It'll be Polanco, Escobar, and Buxton. A 2-2 ball game. Minnesota has a second wild card berth as we speak. The Angels are losing 2-1 bottom of the 5th in Anaheim, and they are on the heels of Minnesota. They are 2 games back of the Twins. The Seattle Mariners, they are 3.5 back of Minnesota. Seattle beat the Texas Rangers, so currently they are 3 back of Minnesota.
They got King Felix back tonight, didn't they? And they're going to get James Paxton tomorrow. The big maple.
Hernandez went 3 2/3. So he got the start. He threw 54 pitches, and that's about what they wanted him to do, throw about 60 pitches. So Paxton comes back, and that's a big shot in the arm for Seattle.
For Seattle, 2 starters back for the last 16, 17 games of the season.
Jorge Polanco had a 2-run single in the 5th. He's responsible for the only Twins runs.
It looked like they were going to score more, but Escobar, after that single by Polanco, lined into a double play, and that's been a sweet part of the Blue Jays tonight, turning double plays.
This is popped up. Urania going out into left field. He calls for it, and Saunders pulls up. Urania makes the play. The Blue Jays have turned 4 double plays tonight, and that has been a big part of the reason this game is 2-2 in the 10th. You mentioned that double play in the 5th. That was a line shot off the bat of Escobar, who's stepping in the batter's box now. Goins caught the ball at second, through to first to double off Polanco. Santos has done a nice job for the Blue Jays, first as a starter in AAA Buffalo, and now in the big leagues. He's 26 years old. He originally started with the Pirates in their minor league system. Played in Kansas City for a couple of years in the minor leagues, and then came to the Blue Jays in 2015.
Didn't have great numbers at AAA. But since he has come to the big leagues, he's been unbelievable. 5 for 30. That's what he's given up. 5 hits and 30 at bats in his 3 games.
You know, his record was 3-12 in AAA Buffalo, but he had fewer hits than innings pitched. He had 98 strikeouts in 108 innings. Not bad.
Deceiving numbers. Well, what we have seen hasn't been deceiving. It's been pretty impressive.
Throws a lot of strikes. Escobar reaches for that and stays alive. Santos has a big league save. He picked up a save. That's joining the ball club. He did a nice job and came on and picked up the save on Sunday. He worked 3 innings in relief of Jay Happ. And here he strikes out Escobar. 2 up, 2 down in the 10th.
He's got 3 pitches that he can throw at any time for strikes. He doesn't have to throw sliders and fastballs. That looked like a changeup that got Escobar out in front. And he comes up empty. That was an impressive 2-strike pitch.
Pitching with a lot of confidence, and he's willing to throw those off-speed pitches any count. So now Byron Buxton, the center fielder, steps in. Takes one outside. Buxton has singled, struck out, popped out, and walked. 1 for 3. Swinging a drive to left, and Buxton has just walked off the Blue Jays. For Buxton, that's his 15th home run, and the Twins continue to play well here at home.
That pushes their home record to over 500. 2 consecutive nights where they've had walk-off home runs. Eddie Rosario in last night's game against San Diego. Tonight, Byron Buxton does it to the Blue Jays again. He had the 3-home-run game back at Rogers Center, and tonight he wins it with a walk-off home run.
Minnesota has won 11 of the last 13 games here at Target Field, and they got a great performance from their pitching staff. And Byron Buxton hits his 4th home run of the season against the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays lose another extra inning game.
Breaking ball, you see how he waited back on that? They spread him out just a little bit so he can become a better breaking ball hitter. Got plenty of distance up into the second tank. And he's going to get the bubblegum shower when he gets to home plate after the walk-off home run.
The 15th time the Blue Jays have been walked off this season. It's their 25th one-run loss of the season. Tough one here in Minnesota. Here's Sportsnet Central. See you tomorrow night.